the difference between augmented reality, virtual reality, and mixed reality? It is a range of experiences. On one hand, we have virtual reality, which is a total immersive experience where you put on a headset and you are disconnected from your environment. Everything you see and interact is a 3D generated object. And on the other hand, for augmented reality, you have a connection to your environment, like in HoloLens, and you have some extra information, maybe 3D or maybe audio information that's available to you, which is augmenting your reality. Also, we have mobile phone applications like Pokemon Go. You are looking through the glass of your phone and you're able to find 3D objects in the real world. And this whole range of experiences we call mixed reality. And short, it's called XR.
Hello, everyone. Hi. Thank you all for joining this amazing session. My name is Arima Ibrahim. I'm from Abuja, Nigeria, and I'll be hosting the Africa Community Session at the Global XR Conference 2021. Right. So thank you all for watching. I'll be joined by some amazing women in Africa, from Africa, doing amazing stuff with XR. I'm super glad to have connected with them. I think last 2 years, and our relationship has been super amazing. So I brought them all here to share what they are doing with XR in Africa, their journey so far, their predictions for the future with this technology, and also how they can inspire women out there on the continent, outside the continent, to get started with XR. So thank you all for joining us and enjoy the amazing session. So I'll be adding them shortly. So first will be Nyambura. Hey, hi, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Great, nice to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you very much.
The next up is Gadi.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
Great. Finally, Kume.
Hi, Romy. Thanks for having me. Hello, everyone.
I'm good. How
Hi,
are you?
Hey.
So great. So the topic for this session is XR women in Africa, and we have close to 30 minutes to talk about XR, talk about the amazing work you guys are doing, and also how you guys can inspire the next generation of content creators from the continent. So we'll do a short introduction, basically 1 minute, 2 minutes, and let the world get to know the amazing people we have on this session. So first off is Yambura. Could you please introduce yourself?
Hello, everybody. My name is Nyambura Waringe. I'm a co-founder and creative director of Okoya & Company based in Nairobi, Kenya. I am actually also in Nairobi, Kenya right now as I'm speaking to all of you. My company is a culmination of the work that I've been doing in film, basically screen media, visual arts, gaming, and most importantly, looking at how storytelling cuts across platforms as well as technologies. And in this iteration of Okoya & Company, we really are working on blazing the trail on the continent and on the globe, in terms of how we can use extended reality technologies to not only tell stories, but work across different industries. So that has also been a passion of mine, a private passion that I spread the word through hashtag Immersive Juakali, which is around coalition building, networking, and bridging in terms of what access to technology we have, what equity issues we have, and how to resolve them. And most importantly, just to showcase what everybody is doing and how we can learn from each other and really learn from the use cases that we have on what's working, what's not, and most importantly, to develop an audience for this work. Thank you.
Amazing work you're doing. Bravo. Next up is Godi Samang. Could you please introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. I'm Khudi Samang Kuno. I'm a filmmaker. I'm from South Africa, here in South Africa right now. And I am the writer, director, producer of Black Women in Sex. It's an XR experience. Me, myself, and Arome actually are the winners of Digital Lab Africa for 2021. And we're also selected for Electric South for next year, the Electric South Network. So I'm very new in the VR space, and I wanted to, be in a new medium of technology and not be intimidated by it. And I think it's something that often happens with Black female creators when it comes to technologies, that you're just intimidated by it, or you feel like it's just not for you. And I'm so happy to be in the presence of women that are in XR and are in technology and are doing this in Africa. And it's a new medium all around the world, not just in Africa. So it's the perfect time to start. It's the perfect time to build the audience for it. And I'm very excited about it.
Super excited too. Right. And finally, we have Kume. Kume, could you introduce yourself?
Hi, Romy. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you can hear you, sure.
Okay, good. It's so hard to compete with these two fabulous girls. But let me say a few things about myself. My name is Kume Chipsa. I'm originally from Ethiopia. I'm the founder of a company called Afro Valley that's based in Ethiopia and Addis. My company is primarily working on farmer empowerment using technology. Initially, we started with blockchain and the concept of blockchain, how it can actually revolutionize the agro sector. But then we got into XR when we look into basically marketing the farmer experience and bringing the farmer and the buyer closer. So this XR experience is actually making the agro space very sexy, because it used to be seen as a very, rural, they say, experience or kind of thing. Now people are basically looking at the kind of thing that you can do with agro through XR, sitting in the elite space or in the urban area. So actually, XR is being used to bringing both the buyer and the producer and the supply chain closer, building that trustability, and then also bringing them closer to understand each other. So it's an exciting space on top of blockchain.
Yeah.
Amazing. So you're basically my go-to person for anything blockchain, NFT, or the metaverse. So
exactly.
That
and then making it agro a sexy space.
Yeah, it is actually. It is. That's where the money is actually. So great. So before we start fully, I know we are all calling in from different countries in Africa. For me, I'm in Nigeria, in Abuja, and I know you guys are also spread across Africa. So before the call, I told you guys to come with a little bit of your traditional attire. Right. So you give like a 1 minute snippet of what the attire is about and what it means to you. So we'll start with Godi. So what are you wearing today?
Oh, I'm wearing Zulu. I'm wearing a little Zulu beautiful band here as well. I mean, it's the most popular culture in South Africa. There are like 11 cultures, but the most popular one is Zulu. And I mean, there's a whole headset for like women that are married, women that are not married. And it's just a very beautiful way to celebrate culture and tradition. And I was excited when you told me to like dress in a little bit of African, especially, women in XR in Africa. So I thought it would be very nice. So that's what I'm wearing. I couldn't go like crazy and wear the whole thing. But like, yeah, this is good.
It's fine. It's fine. You're looking good, by the way.
Thank you.
Yambura, what are you wearing?
So I didn't get that part of the assignment. So Godi, you look absolutely lovely. I've always loved hairdresses and everything else. Just
Thank
absolutely lovely.
you.
Yeah.
Mura
So
has been to South Africa, so she could actually dress in South African things if she wanted to.
for me, I'm just wearing in Nairobi, in Kenya, we've just taken a lot of different textiles. I believe this might be something along from West Africa, more West Africa, because for us, a lot of we have what we call the kanga or the lesso, which is a little bit different. So this is part of nowadays everyday fashion. A long time ago, this was considered very edgy because you're not wearing, the Western clothes and the suit and the tie, the dresses that were, A-line and everything. So for me, this is just now what we wear in Nairobi, just using different African fabrics to just adapt into modern Western clothing or just modern clothing where we're at. And I love this because I love yellows and blues, and it goes with my hair.
Amazing, amazing. So for me, I'm wearing
I had to quickly change it, you guys. I had to.
I love it.
Great. Okay. So let me do mine. Yeah. So I'm wearing it's a traditional Igala wear called achi. So basically, it's worn by both the male and female folks. The black means the normal African black, which symbolizes productivity, natural resources, while the yellow, depends on how you're seeing it, symbolizes hospitality. So yeah, Igala is from Kogi State, and we are based in North Central Nigeria. So I think Kume has a network.
This is lesser. This is more lesser. My curtain is lesser. So it's a
Nice.
little bit different in terms of what's on it, and what it usually has with the kanga is what you call a methali, which means a proverb. And usually just has a proverb, and it will be something about family or people or everyday life. And sometimes it's very tongue-in-cheek. It can be very naughty. So it can be on different parts of the clothing that you can put it on when you've got your dress or whatever you have. It can be in a highlighted space. So it's really cool.
Okay, great. So before Kume gets back, Kume, okay. So Kume, what are you wearing? Can you
What
hear
are you
me?
wearing today, Kume?
What's on your head?
I think she's having network issues.
I'm from the Oromo part.
Kume, I can't hear you.
I'm married. I hope I'm correct. So actually, normally it should be gold, but then, I'm yet to afford that. So at least
Okay, great.
I can represent.
Okay, great. So let's start. So first off, I'll start with Godi. So with your experience so far with XR, what do you think were some of the obstacles you faced when you got started with this technology as a woman in Africa?
I think some of the obstacles is finding the Black creators to collaborate with. You just love, Black excellence. And as well, like coming from a filmmaking background, there's so many people you can work with. You can have like a full Black crew, and that's what you love because the quality is so high and people like expect less. There's always this notion that it's going to be substandard if it's fully Black, and I like to work with like a completely Black young crew, and that's kind of been my biggest obstacle, just because people aren't trained enough, in XR that I know of personally. And I'm so glad that I'm beginning to build this network of people in the space in Africa.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Yambura, I know you have years of experience in XR, in cinematography, videography. You even
All across the board.
have an
Where do we
agency.
jump in?
Yeah, you have an agency that is currently.
It's always hard. It's like, do you have an hour? No. Actually, what I do have is a quote around equity, because I think being in Kenya, it can be a little bit different from South Africa, what we're going through. But the notion of equity, I think the notion of equity cuts across all of us in terms of economic equity, in terms of ethnic equity in terms of gender equity, in terms of sexual orientation equity, all of that, and how our societies have evolved to maybe accept or refuse. So even I think equity being a process that I have in all the productions that I do take on. And the productions can be visual arts exhibitions, it can be extended reality, location-based extended reality experiences, it can be interactive immersive, it can be working in NFTs and saying who are the artists that we can bring forward and create exhibitions around, so that people not only know what's happening on the continent, but also pushing people who ordinarily would not have had access. So my quote comes from Marquise Stilwell, co-founder of Dean Journal, and it says that equity is a process, not an outcome. And that's really important, that we don't think like, just for example, I'm not saying my cohort thinks the same, oh, we're here, we're Global XR, we've done it. No, equity is a process, not an outcome. We need to focus on creating better definitions for the language we use. And therefore, in all our different spaces that are so multicultural, what are the different languages? And that's one of the things that I really look into, is what language are we using to define our spaces. And also because XR can be intimidating, whether technologically, but also the language itself, English. How many people have access to that technical verbiage around technological innovations that they feel that they cannot access? So how are we translating it? Better modes of expressing that language and stronger accountability for how that language and the expectations it contains are implemented in our design process. And so that's kind of how, for me, in thinking about the obstacles, my obstacles are many. And also the fact I'm not a technologist. I come from a creative development and producing background. But then I think for me, because of the experiences I had in a more mature market, and that was in Canada, it was highly collaborative. Whereas I find in Africa, because of the entry point of XR, seeing as something that will solve something, where we kind of reside in a sense of techno solutionism, I have a quote that I will say later, then the tech becomes the center of the experience, So then creative people, the people who actually create the content that goes onto the platform, are left out of certain conversations that are essential to ensuring that this tool is adapted in different spaces. Our audiences access it. It's great to be in a VR headset. How many people in Africa have it? Then how many people across the globe also have it? So how are we creating across platforms? So those are the obstacles I face, that I think a lot of us face, as well as not just in Africa, but around the world. And so for me, it's how do I ensure that in everything I do, equity sits also at the center of it all.
True, very true. I love the way you broke everything down into some amazing details. So next up, Kume, I know you are doing amazing work with XR and also NFT, right? And the adoption of that technology is still quite slow in Africa. So what do you feel are your challenges so far in having people in your own part of Africa adopt XR and also NFTs?
I think Nambra, to be honest, but the way I see it is not only it's just there is a huge gap in terms of having women in this space, but if you look at it from a general population point of view, this kind of technologies like
Kume,
discussion
your video feed is breaking. So Kume, can you turn off your video?
Yeah,
Maybe
I was.
Your feed is breaking actually. Okay, yeah. So we can hear you.
Yeah. So what I was saying. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So what I was saying was the whole technology, especially the new age technologies, are more an elite conversation, and all the knowledge and access are available within the elites, right? So for me, the first step is like, is this technology or the knowledge of it is available for the general population, right? Second layer, is this tech also, would women participate heavily on this discussion and its future, let's say, opportunity? No. So so my the way I look at it is, or the way I operate is mostly I try to see if I can actually expand the knowledge. It's actually all these technologies, they're not intimidating. You can go into Google, you can read about it, you can join the communities, and then educate yourself and participate in the future economy. So I think the first issues, a lot of people are intimidated, not only women, but in general, the population. People, when they talk about blockchain, they think it's, it's a Wall Street subject, but in fact, it's not. Anybody can actually go and code it from their bedroom and get access and launch their own app and then participate in their economy. So building that confidence basically where I see lacking, and that I try to push and so that I can get a lot of people to participate on it.
True. If there's anybody that knows how to push,
hopefully you heard me. You heard most of it.
Yeah, we heard you.
Yes,
heard
we
you
did.
loud and clear. Great. So due to time, I'll be throwing another round of questions, then we'll wrap it up. So basically, I know there are a lot of women out there in Africa that want to learn about this technology, but they are hindered by either hardware, learning resources, and I know you guys have achieved a lot over the years. So it's more like giving the younger version of yourself an advice, right? So what would that advice be if you are to inspire an amazing woman out there that wants to learn about XR? Godi?
I would say don't be afraid of being a beginner. Like there is such a culture these days of like wanting to know, like seem like you know more than you actually do know. And I was given advice very early in my career that work with people that are better than you. Like even if not like better in something else. Like if it's technology, if it's designing, if it's this, if it's writing, work with someone that's better than you, so your idea can become more than what you are envisioning for yourself. And don't be afraid to begin. Don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to enter these labs, these markets that help you strengthen your story, that help you like pull you in the right direction. That what you actually need is this and this and this. So I think a lot of the intimidation comes from the fact that people are not transparent about what they have access to and what they're not sure about.
Amazing. Very, very nice. Yambura?
That's a hard act to follow. I absolutely agree. And one thing that I do want to just open up is that we're all facing these obstacles and these challenges. It's not just women in particular, women particularly in a certain social cultural context, but in all of us. So one of the things is, as Godi said, don't be afraid to be a beginner. And then another thing is around what I talked about, techno-solutionism. So I have my quote here. It says, I think it's a disservice to designers and technologists to be solution-driven rather than by people and culture. Techno-solutionism is a myth. In the everyday, people work from a place of abundance and to build systems that serve themselves and others. This is a quote from Salome Asega in the Dean Journal. And the point is that when you stop centering people, when you're working, that becomes an obstacle because you're more concentrating on showing how sexy the technology is. As Kume said, there are things you can just do yourselves and you can learn. Having access to the internet is also a problem for all of us, not just women. Having access to learning resources, something that is a problem for all of us. So when I look back on, to my younger self, will be always around what is at the center of this. It can be the technology. It has to be the project, the idea, what you want to take into the world, how, and not to be driven by solutions, particularly in Africa. Africa is always asked to solve its corruption through XR. I don't know how that works. I'm still, figuring out what everybody did at certain spaces. And the thing is, for us to grow in this space, we have to deal with the fact that we need more open source tech. We need more locally produced hardware, and we need to be going across looking for hardware partnerships. So for my younger self, she's actually really cool. Whenever I'm having problems trying to figure things out, I actually go and tap into her. She had no limitations because she knew, you know what, things may or may not work out, but she had no limitations in terms of I can't walk into a space. She knew she may not walk into a space for various reasons that are societal, but she will be there. She was very, very courageous. So using her audacity is really taking audacious moments in my life and in my work, is looking at how am I experiencing and creating with different forms of interactive media that brings in an audience, that starts to build an audience. I'm looking at how am I using the web? Yambo, I remember people are on the phone, most of us on this continent, but globally, we're mostly on a smartphone. So how are we creating content for that, and how audacious am I being? As Godi said, how am I beginning? Just begin, try something small, take it out there. And the notion of partnerships is really important when, what Godi was talking about, getting to work with people who know more than you. And that's something that I consistently do, particularly on the technology side, as well as also what is the work that I'm doing a platform for, and what doors is it opening for others? Because we can't do this alone. We can't walk this journey alone. So that's, as I said, for me, my younger self, she's my audacity. So whenever I'm feeling audacious, I tap into her and think through all these processes around ensuring that I'm centering people in my projects and centering their needs, and not my myths around things, and doing my research and all of that.
Great. She must be very proud, I must say. So next up is Kume. Kume, any advice for amazing women out there in Africa that want to get started with XR or NFT? Kume, can you hear me?
Oh, sorry, I was on mute. My advice is just to start. Don't be scared to fail. Failure is part of the journey. So this is what actually helped me, and that's what I'm, I guess, known for. Anything that I see, I'm not afraid to experiment and see what I can get out of it. Unless you experimented, you would not know. So don't be intimidated. Don't be scared to fail, and always learn. If you fail, it's always opportunity, not actually being a failure. That gives you the boost for the next pivot that you want to do, and then push from there. And also don't be intimidated by a bunch of men and geek men that are, occupying 90% of the tech space, that you can actually create your own space and develop your own space and find yourself in it. So that's my advice.
Amazing. Create your own space and find yourself in it. Thank you so much. So we're almost done. It's a short session, sorry. So we have some feedback from the audience. Somebody's saying, Karim Barker is saying, awesome session. And so far it has been great. We don't have any questions. So if you're watching us, you have any questions for our panelists, you can drop it in the chat. So before we wrap up, I want to just say, what are your thoughts about, in quotes, the metaverse? And where do you see it in the next 5 to 10 years for Africa?
Metaverse.
Yeah, so what are your thoughts on the metaverse before we wrap up? Nyambura?
It's driving me crazy, that word.
Ooh, what am I? I will shift away from that. I'm really looking at, for all of us in this space, is how we're coming up with imaginative and robust financing models so that we don't create dependencies that are unnecessary. How we're moving away from programmatic funding, meaning, Kume, Godi, and I have to have a project in order to attract funding, as opposed to finance this company or come in and see how whatever revenue projection share is available for us to participate in, so that we're growing a company. We're not just focused on projects. A programmatic approach is all right at the beginning, but like for someone like myself, and I believe for the rest, is you're building a company, you're building an engine for the work. And so the really looking at how is that actual investment, what is the local investment, how we presenting projects that are getting local investors aware that, I love the way Kume talks about, agriculture is sexy. In my country, agriculture is still the thing. And then the next thing is real estate, either in real estate or in agriculture, but how we investing outside of that. I'm looking at how we harnessing the power of web that becomes part of the whole XR journey or whatever experiences you're creating. How we also evangelizing to people outside of maybe a creative space, culture space. And that's why I always love Kume and the work that she does is it figures in industries outside the norm of what happens in XR in Africa particularly, but then how are we then making links with people in agriculture, people in water, people, electricity, all this kind of industries that drive economy, how we also participating in those spaces and showing them ways that they can use this type of technology and what content rests on it. And, that's kind of how I look at this idea of the metaverse, is really creating your own space in it. And being, particularly in Africa, I think we being very confident in how we use it for ourselves as we develop a regional and a global audience for the work that we do.
Amazing. So before we go around, I would love us to answer this question. So Yabude is asking, what are the online communities for beginners? Is there any online communities for beginners in XR? So to add to that, there are a lot on the continent. There are also country specific and also Pan-African specific. I think you have the ARVR Africa. You can search for it on Google. It's a Pan-African group. You also have, I think Electric South has a community in South Africa, if I'm correct. And you can also search for Electric South. If you guys have any other communities, you can add, ladies.
There's also Artisan. Nyambura and I are part of Artisan actually, and it's based in the US, but it's a global community of XR creators, and we share each other's work, on the platform and get into film festivals, do very casual pitches also. So it's a great way to connect with XR creators across the world.
Yeah. Also, I just want to add XR Women Global to that space. Actually, that's how Kume and I connected. And it's a really great space that is also trying to create chapters around the world. Also, I'd like to say, thinking outside of XR is a tool. So even if you're doing gaming, being in different game spaces or being in spaces that use this type of technology, 3D and stuff like that is really great, because then going through, doing your research around what's in my community is really important. I don't know how it is for you guys in, oh my God, Nigeria, South Africa, Ethiopia. I absolutely love this. I don't get to travel as much nowadays, but just to be here with you guys is really awesome. Is also looking at, for example, in Nairobi, we have what you call Nikon, which is it's a comic week, and people are doing all this different type of cosplay and stuff like that. But it's a great way to see who are in the community. It's a great way to see who are potential audiences. It's a great way to see how people are starting to set up in ways to gather and understand. When I was talking about coalition building and networking and bridging, at times it's not just about being in the space that you want to, being in XR. It's where my audience is and can I show up in these spaces and tell them about it. I don't know, there's another question there.
Yeah, there's another question we need to answer it because we're almost out of time.
Yeah.
So Gregory is asking, is it easy to learn the basic of AR/VR, or is it possible to is it possible to find mentors? I will add to that. It's very easy. The internet is there for you to use, right? When I started off, I was watching videos on YouTube, right? My first mentor was on YouTube. I sent him a message on Instagram, right? So it's easy for you to find mentors. You can go on LinkedIn, you can search on YouTube, and most of them, they are always willing to share, always willing to support you, right? So, Yamura, you want to add to that?
I just wanted to add to that, saying that for you, Gregory, it's also most people in XR, unlike other more established spaces, are very willing to share their knowledge in ways that I have never experienced. Because, you know, in film, you're always trying to get to a producer and you can't get to them. There are like 15 other people before them and all of that. But in XR, because it's so new around the world, people actually are willing to share their time. So as Irene said, just get on LinkedIn, YouTube, ask those questions. And funny enough, you're going to build a community in the metaverse more than you expected.
Sorry to
I
cut
brought it
you.
around. I brought it back.
Yeah. So, Gadi, could give this a shot. Somebody is asking, as XR evangelist, how do you plan to spread the knowledge about XR, especially among young African youth studying universities and colleges?
I think it's something that really does need to be implemented in these universities and colleges, especially in Africa. I don't know any college that specializes in making XR right now, and there's a lot of film and drama and technology colleges in South Africa. So I think it's up to us now for like access, because people are like still are like very established people in this industry are like, how do you know about this? Like, you know, like, what is this? Like, how did you get access to this? And for me, access I found on international, you know, film festivals, international conferences. So it's just about bringing it closer to home, like bringing it closer to the film students, to the creators, to the creatives, not only in universities, in creative spaces. So like people like myself who are making projects that center African women, you know, African events, LGBTQI, you know, events. So kind of bringing it closer to the people in terms of exhibitions, galleries, museums, as well as, you know, like Nyambura was saying, on the webs as well, not just in these headsets. So just it's up to us. It's up to us now to like come and see this cool thing, and then more people will catch on.
Great.
I'll
Thank you
just
so
say,
much.
I'll just add something.
Yeah.
Just
Oh,
one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kume.
So actually, in Ethiopia, what we're trying to do is we're building what we call Center of Excellence, collaborating with universities. As part of that Center of Excellence, the idea is how do we actually innovate and do research on this technologies? So we're building that bucket. And then also, how do we connect the industry with academia, right? Because people, they don't learn and they go out to the industry and they don't understand the industry. And then the industry doesn't get anything out of academia, right? So we're trying to bridge by creating this think tank. So we're trying to bridge the gap between the two so that whatever it's researched, learned, is basically applied in the industry. And then also whatever this new tech that's coming out of academia can actually be adopted with academia quickly as well. So there is this Center of Excellence approach and collaboration with private sector actually could solve the case or hopefully answers the question.
Great.
So in Kenya, we have the Technical University of Kenya, and there's a lecturer, Melissa Lela, who's very much in this space. So it is part of certain universities and also the Africa Digital Media Institute. So those are the two spaces that those are collaboration, that type of work is happening.
Amazing. I know a lot of institutions in Africa are already catching up with XR, and in the next 1 to 2 years, we should have full degrees that are focused primarily on extended reality technology. So thank you all for your questions. Thank you all for joining this session. So I wish I had more time, right? But everything is already stacked up, right? But we should do this more often, and I'm super glad to have each and every one of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us, Arame. This is wonderful. And it's nice to see you again, Nyambura, and to meet you.
Great.
Nice to see you.
Nice.
Bye.
So our next session is coming up. Yeah. So bye, everyone. So thank you all for joining the stream. I wish we had more time, but everything is already scheduled, and I'm super glad we're able to inspire you guys to learn about XR and just get started, right? Go out of your shell and just start. So our next session is starting in a couple of minutes, so please stay on the stream. We'll be having Derek Ikenga from Nigeria. He'll be talking about XR for virtual try-ons. So see you all shortly.
What's the difference between augmented reality, virtual reality, and mixed reality? It is a range of experiences. On one hand, we have virtual reality, which is a total immersive experience where you put on a headset and you are disconnected from your environment. Everything you see and interact is a 3D generated object. And on the other hand, for augmented reality, you have a connection to your environment, like in HoloLens, and you have some extra information, maybe 3D or maybe audio information that's available to you, which is augmenting your reality. Also, we have mobile phone applications like Pokemon Go. You are looking through the glass of your phone and you're able to find 3D objects in the real world. And this whole range of experiences we call mixed reality. And short, it's called XR.
Hi everyone. Thank you for your patience and also your understanding. And I hope you guys can hear me loud and clear. So our next session is, the topic is XR for virtual try-ons. And basically we'll be talking about how XR is powering the retail and also e-commerce industry in Africa and also case studies across the world. And joining me is Derek, my amazing friend over the years, doing amazing stuff with XR in Nigeria, and also an amazing dude working on the next big thing, which is the metaverse. So I'll be adding Derek to the stream shortly. And please, if you have any questions, you can drop it in the comment section. Derek, how are you? Derek, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, man. How's it going?
I'm good. Good. Great to see you, man. I think your background is yeah.
Yeah, sir. I was just trying to find like the right background, man.
It's fine. Take your time. Maybe should I take you off the stream so you fix that?
You take care of the what?
Should I take you off the stream so you can fix that, or it's okay?
Oh, no, it's calm. It's okay.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for joining us. So Derek will be sharing his thoughts and also sharing some presentation on how XR is powering retail and also e-commerce here in Africa. So Derek, you could share your slides if you're ready.
Okay.
You could also introduce yourself, by the way.
Okay. Um, hey guys, how's it going? Um, my name is Derek Ikenga. I'm a now metaverse engineer and also the founder of Referral Labs. I focus on building, AR experiences for the metaverse and general, social commerce experiences. Um, Yeah. So a lot of my research and a lot of my experiments have been around, how best can we, utilize immersive experiences to increase conversion rates, for shopping and all of that. And I've been opportune to work with brands like Taylor, where I created, experiences like virtual showroom experiences where we could see furniture and size furniture and put in spaces. I've also worked with, brands like Bitnob, where I created applications that were like games, AR games, where you could play games in AR and win Bitcoin. And with Referral Labs, I've been opportunity to work with quite a couple of brands for doing virtual try-ons for the face, virtual try-ons for watches, virtual try-ons for shoes, virtual try-ons for basically different kind of experiences. So yeah, it's been a really exciting experience, and I'm glad to be here. I'm gonna share my screen in a bit. If we just have some patience.
It's fine. So great work you're doing, Derek. I've been a huge follower of your activities online, and I'm super glad to have you on the session.
Thank you, man. Thank you, man. Glad to be here. Just give me a sec. Just get my slides ready.
Take your time.
Okay.
If you're watching us on YouTube or on any other platform, if you have any questions for Derek about XR for virtual try-ons, please drop them in the chat or in the comment section. You don't need to be shy. We're all here to learn, right? So just share your thoughts and anything you feel about how XR can really, really support and also boost e-commerce and retail.
Okay. All right. So yeah, can you guys see my screen?
I can't see yours. I can't see your slides to add on the screen.
Okay. Okay. I think just give me 1 minute. I think.
Okay.
Let me see. So I'm gonna be talking um, on virtual. Yeah. Okay. I think I can share now. Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, I can see it is coming up. Great. Ah, no
Yeah. I
longer.
think.
Yeah,
So sorry. What I've said is up before. I think I came late, so
no, it's
I
fine.
didn't have a chance
It's
to
fine.
set it. So, all right.
Yeah,
Okay.
great. So you have the floor for the next 20 minutes. So have fun.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. So, like I mentioned earlier, I'm founder of Free Labs right now. I'm also an AR developer, a metaverse engineer at Volto, and I've been experimenting for over 3 years in the space. Um, so one thing that I like to talk about and just put it out is like the metaverse, and I like this dictionary meaning, just a virtual reality space where users can interact with, a lot of computer generated stuff. And XR is really just basically um, helps us to move that's one step further, where we can engage our senses, our eyes, our if in the future our nose, haptic feedback for our body, our ears, all of that, and be able to sort of recreate a sense of reality. And with this recreation in the virtual space, there's an abundance of things we could do. So that's really where a lot of our experiments have been going around. And there's this popular saying by the founder of Niantic Labs. He says AR is where the real metaverse is going to happen. It's quite a should I say it's a big statement, but I sort of get his point. We want to have a reality where people are not fully immersed. You know, we're just using tech to improve certain parts of their lives, And this, I feel like this is the least intrusive way to go about it. And I think a lot of people are beginning to see experiences like this. Um, yeah. So in the AR metaverse, we are going to be able to do a lot of things. We're going to be able to work, exercise, play, communicate, shop, all these things. But today, I'm going to be focused on shopping experiences, as that's the case of our studies, specifically virtual try-on experiences. Now, for those of us who don't know what virtual try-on is, virtual try-on is basically a kind of experience where you you're able to see stuff on your body, before you buy them. And there are two major use cases for this. You know, there's a part where you're shopping online. There's a common question, there's a common joke where they say what I ordered versus what I got. You're shopping online and it becomes very difficult for you to get what you want. You don't know what it look like. You're stuck with the model. You're seeing the model. You're just stuck with them. You know, but with virtual try-ons, you're able to see those products on you, sort of like a mini stylist. You're able to style yourself, style the clothes, see what it looks like, all of that way long before you actually go ahead to buy them. And this sort of opens a whole lot of possibilities. Um, another thing we look at is the possibility of using this for digital fashion. And this has been and there's been a rise of digital fashion lately, where we have brands actively moving from physical clothing that can only exist in the physical realm, and that is or clothing that can in digital realm, 3D designs, 3D clothing are now being able to be done by using virtual try-on experiences. So, for example, I'm going to play a video real quick on my slide. You can see these jackets. Normally in the real world, you wouldn't be able to have this kind of experiences. But with virtual try-on experiences right now, you can directly wear your digital fashion project, and this changes the narrative because it gives digital fashion a utility aspect to it. So not just from looking cool, not just from feeling nice, not just from buying them as NFTs, you can actually go ahead to wear them, and show off and create content. And a lot of us live our lives in digital space, you know, um, by we're going to see a rise of people actively creating content out of products that would only exist digitally and sharing that content to their audience on whatever platform there is. There's also the part of using this kind of like special interactions. For example, what we have here, you can see this example from Pyrota Bar where the person is wearing a clothing and to take a selfie you smile. So these are the sort of things where that normally wouldn't be possible. But now with virtual try-ons, you can have the user go be back from themselves and do a lot of hand-based interaction. I'm going to share some links maybe at the end of this, just show you what that's like. And this is also a very crazy use case. And you find out that a lot of major luxury brands are beginning to use this. This is a Prada hat, and this particularly ties for physical fashion, where you want to buy a product, but you don't know exactly what it look like. You can basically try it on in AR, and this is available across different platforms. Brands are beginning to meet their customers on their mobile apps, on Instagram, on Snapchat, on web. Creating this kind of immersive experiences for them to engage with your product. And so apart from shopping online directly, there's also the part where you're able to prototype and reduce costs. So and this is a much more modern way of thinking about virtual trial. So if when you think about the idea of having the product, what it looks like, you're able to get feedback from your audience. So and a couple of brands have started experimenting with this where we create a couple of products only digitally. We know we plan to make them physically, but we don't know if people will like them. In order to save costs, we're gonna have a virtual trial solution available, put it out on the internet, get feedback about the product, see what people think about the product. Um, based on our feedback, develop and then go to market with it. So you can see it changes what the design or the launch process for a typical product will be like, from just putting stuff in the market and hoping people will buy, to actually getting validated feedback from your audience to see that, oh, okay, we actually like this stuff. This is what you think. Okay, we should make it this color, blah 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 and stuff. There's also a part of having people create content of your product without you actually spending to ship them the product. Because really a lot of content we create is really for the internet. If there's a way you can get people to create content about your product without you having to create a new product for them, ship to them if they are like in Europe and you're like in Africa, all of that, you can just give them the virtual try on piece, and you have an influencer that works in Asia, works in Europe, actively creating content for your brand using the virtual trial and experience. And there are even a lot of crazy ideas where you start experimenting with things that are just experiments and really fun, but give you content that you can always actively share and engage your audience with. So these are the kind of experiences we're looking at, and really it's already happening. You're beginning to see a rise of tools like AR tools where we're going to be styling our avatars. So we're going to be having virtual try-ons for our avatars. So this particularly works in head-mounted experiences where if you're wearing like an AR or MR glass, you can have your avatar in front of you and style the avatar. So really, it goes a very long way. It solves a lot of problems when it comes to styling and sizing, and this changes the future of shopping as well as it makes it a lot more interesting. There's something about shopping when you're in a physical store. It feels very good. You're able to try on different clothes, go around. You're able to get exactly what you want, and this is exactly what we're proposing for virtual try-ons with augmented reality. I'm just gonna go. Um, Yeah. So there are a couple of if you want to build out yourself, there are a couple of solutions right now. You could have Lens Studio, Spark AR. You could do this in Unity. We're also currently developing our own SDK at Ferrer Labs, where you're able to create virtual travel experiences. But on Lens Studio, you're able to create um, food tracking experiences, wrist tracking experiences for wristwatch. The food tracking is for shoes and sneakers and all of that. And they've been pretty cool ones that have come up. I'm sure you must have seen them, or if not, you can check out my LinkedIn. I share a lot of these kind of experiences there. You have face tracking for glasses, hats, all of that. I know on Spark AR works primarily for Instagram and Facebook or Meta. Now, it's primarily you have face tracking experiences primarily. The rest are sort of still coming up, but they're getting there. I know Unity also you could create like body tracking experiences where you could wear virtual clothes. You also have face tracking experiences, and Niantic recently launched Lightship, which is like an AR SDK that understands the world. And with this, you can sort of create like virtual stores that people can visit, and then use that to trigger virtual try-on experiences. So you feel like you're going to an actual store to shop. So these are the kind of ideas we're looking at when it comes to shopping online with virtual try-on, and this is just sort of all encompassing everything into it. So yeah, I hope you guys got some very good notes from this. I'm open to any questions you might have, either here or on LinkedIn.
Derek.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry, I had to grab water. So, great, great. So, thank you so much for sharing. So, first off, I have a couple of questions for you. First off, how did you get? How did your journey begin with Vector? What was the story behind Derek, the metaverse engineer? How did it all begin?
Oh yeah, I'd say it's always been there. I just did not know it was going to turn out like this. I didn't know it was going to be called the metaverse. I didn't know it was going to be called, augmented reality. Just my own vision primarily has always been, how can I not be limited to my physical space? That's just primary thing, And I started experimenting with AR. I think in 2017, I saw a couple of apps. I started using them, but I started developing for AR. I think 2019, and my first real world use case, was when I joined Taylor as a CTO, and we were creating trying to be like an IKEA for Africa. I know we didn't have the budget. Furniture is really expensive, really hard to move. To create a showroom becomes very expensive, and we didn't have the budget, so we had to be very creative, with how we showcase our products. And we are able to leverage AR and VR at the time. For with AR, we had this plugin where you could see our products in your space, see the size, see the measurements, compare, take pictures. And with VR, we had like a virtual showroom. So when people come to the office, instead of having you go around the physical space, we just have like a quick boundary area with the Quest, and then you just put it on, and then you visit the virtual showroom. So it feels like you're in a real mall, and people are always wild and all of that. So yeah, then I started experimenting with what's happening in commerce. How is this affecting how people are shopping? And then I started the referral labs primarily to focus on commerce. But besides that, I've really done a lot of experiments, with image tracking, just with face tracking, just trying to create practical use cases for augmented reality. Taking it from the hobbyists away from the hobbyists mentality, to just from away from something fun to something that's actually very useful. And I mean, like it's been actually very good. And then subsequently, the the whole metaverse thing started coming up, and it just made sense. Okay, yeah, so we're gonna have this fully virtual world, and like, oh yeah, that's actually what I was aiming for. So it's like just the right fit, and just clicked, and I just okay, let me go into the metaverse fully and work as a metaverse engineer.
Amazing, right? Um, so my next question is, I know you have been doing a lot of stuff online, right? On social media, on Twitter, on LinkedIn. I hope you can hear me. Yeah, great.
Okay,
Um, yeah, so my question is, would you advise developers, creatives to build in public or build in private before launching fully to the public?
so it depends, but people who have resources already can afford to build in private, make sure the product is a bit perfect, all of that, then launch because they have like marketing budgets and all of that. But I assume our audience right now is the typical African dev. We don't have a lot of resources really. You're trying to sell a product that not everybody in your local market is going to buy. You know, you, you it's almost a need to build in public for your own sake, to avoid launching something that people don't want, or to avoid having a very slow launch, or to avoid spending a lot of upfront marketing costs. I've done projects where I didn't we built something very good and launched, and we got hype on the first day. But after the first day, like, it just really died and all of that. But what happens when you build in public is you start getting people interested. Yeah, there's this honesty that people like seeing you show your vulnerability, show what you're learning, how you're doing it, your work, and they start rooting for you. Very important. They start rooting for you, you know. And by the time you're ready to launch, you already have a lot of fans that would appreciate your product, whether it's perfect or not. Give you quality feedback to help your product, and already waiting for you to launch. So when you launch, they jump on it. Whether it's good or not, whether your video is shitty or not, whether anyhow you launch it, they jump on it, they like it. And the way a lot of social media algorithm works is that if you get a lot of people to engage on your stuff in the early hours that you post it, the algorithm thinks that it's very good content, and then they start sharing it to more people. So you eventually end up getting a wider reach of people. So for the African creative, being in public is a must if you want to sell to a global audience. If you want to sell to the world with very low marketing costs, it has I would say it has directly helped me a lot. It has accelerated a lot of my growth. I've gotten offers in different directions, and that's another very very interesting thing. When you're building stuff yourself in private, you're limited to the scope of what you think. But when you start sharing what you're working on, you start getting all sorts of offers. You're like, okay, so recently, I didn't think about creating wearable NFTs. Having people be able to wear their avatars and appear to a meeting as the avatar. I could actually do one here where I can appear here as an avatar and all of that. But these concepts, they could not have come from me. It could not have. I could never have thought about it. Someone somewhere thought of it and reached out to us and like, okay, um, we want you to we want you to do a virtual transfer for NFTs for this particular NFT project. And we started experimenting with it really, and it's been fun and it's been crazy. Like, so these sort of ideas are like are very hard to find when you share your work. You're able to invite people into your creativity, and people are able to give you a lot of spontaneous things that you would never have thought of. Trust me. Let me do a quick demo of what that's like. um
Okay. So before you share, to add to that, I know a lot of creatives in Africa and also across the world are facing the problem of content theft, right? You create an experience and maybe for a client and they're not willing to pay, all right, but they end up using that content for their own promotions, right? From your experience, what do you feel are the best ways creatives and creators can move around that space of content theft, especially for XR?
I'd say really you can't avoid it. Initially I had some of those issues, but I was able to solve that by just eventually just doing me. So firstly, you've got to sign contracts all the time, when talking to people. Before anything really, it's important that you sign contracts, that you have it well detailed out, no matter how much you like the person, no matter how much fun, no matter how much respect, no matter how cool it is, because a lot of us tend to fall for that, the hype and all of that. You get your contract out, get it very clear. And one thing you observe is that by the time you start putting your contract out and your pricing and all of that, the people who aren't serious sort of filter themselves away. You know, people who plan to do stuff 2 3 months from now, but they're reaching out to you now, they filter themselves away. So it's important you get out of the way. Even though a lot of creatives don't like to talk about it, even till now, when I want to hire a couple of guys on the project, I talk to them. They'll tell me things like they don't really anyhow I want to do it. Like I should just, what's the budget? Don't worry, any amount I want to pay. I'm like, no, like I'm even the one telling them, like, because I've been in that position before um where you just get taken advantage of. So it's important to get your contract out, have your pricing, be bold about it, say it, because really, what the internet has done is, and especially in XR space, is giving us a level playing field. You're no longer just a developer from Africa. You're an XR developer generally. Like, what's the XR development rate? What does it cost? Then if you feel you want to be a bit cheaper than that, no problem. But just make sure you get your contract out, own your IP, have your own projects, and really once you have your contract out, I think everybody really follows through. But in cases where it has happened, just let it go. You can't do anything about that. Like, it happens, let it go. But moving forward, you know, you should definitely speak to your contractor. I've been in cases where I was doing a project, and the project became complex along the way because the client kept adding features, you know, and then it really became an issue, and the client became very verbally abusive, and I had to refund all of their money to them, even after spending a lot on the project, but that experience taught me a lesson about having properly detailed contracts out, and now when I'm working with anyone, I have all those things set out. So yeah, don't hesitate, don't be shy. It's I think it's a bit awkward for a lot of creatives to talk about the specifics. You don't want to seem like you're being too somehow or whatever, but like it's important to do that, like for your own safety, putting you first. Get
Mm,
your contract out. There are a lot of templates online. Get it out. Client sign. If client doesn't like it, go, and then you just move on. Yeah.
amazing. So last question from my end. So we know there are some big brands in Nigeria and also across Africa that are championing e-commerce and possible logistics, right? What do you feel are some of the challenges they may face in adopting XR? Because XR is a big thing for marketing and consumer experience globally. So why are these companies not adopting XR here in Africa? What do you think are some of their challenges?
I think my experience here, I'd say they do not understand it. And it's a bit tricky. A lot of people don't understand the space, So to find someone that understands this like the first bit, and the person that is willing to pay for it, it's a bit different, So they do not understand um, the space, so they don't value it as much. So you have to most likely sell to them. For example, what you do in real estate, for example, you'd have to actively talk to people about these are the benefits. Even though the benefits are glaring, everybody in the West knows the benefits are glaring. A lot of the real estate company Nigerians don't know it. There are very few that are coming up that know, but they're not as much. So there's an education gap. And I feel like it boils down to us to really actively educate our markets, about the benefits, what they stand to gain, the marketing, the excitement, what it does to your users, the conversion rates for somebody who has used an experience in XR or someone who has not done stuff in XR. So definitely an education gap. And even the one that eventually understand it, some of them still price you very funny, because they don't value it. They understand it, but they don't value it. So you've got to sell your work very valuably. It's honestly, yeah, I would say in recent times, a lot of my clients are beginning to become sort of the more global brands. So, but I know that there are definitely a couple of brands locally that understand the benefits, but they're just not as much. So I say to sustain you right now, you have to just do a bit of education to get it to work. Honestly.
Orientation is very, very important, and that's what we're trying to do. Orientate companies, orientate people that want to learn about XR to just get started, right? Let's just jump on it as soon as possible. Going straight into our questions, we have a question from Iyabode. She said, "Hi Derek, nice to meet you. What software would you recommend for designing 3D virtual garments? I mostly create garments in Flow 3D. Can they be used in Spark AR Lens and Studio for virtual trials?"
Yes, yes, yes. I think that's actually perfect. So if you already have your garments in Clo, you can actually export them and put them to Lens Studio. Lens Studio will be your preferred option for because of the 3D body tracking. Like I mentioned, we're also working on an SDK for body tracking on the web. We'll release that by next year. But Lens Studio is perfect right now for you. Lens Studio has a lot of cloth physics and cloth simulation, which you can actually use. So if you export your garments in Lens Studio in Cloth 3D, go to Lens Studio. There's a body tracking template that's there. You're able to import your garments, import the file, and then just do a bit of edit and then track. Basically, add that to the feature points, the points of interest, which in this case would be the body. And then just hack it around from there to get it out. I'd say you'd have to make sure your stuff is very optimized. Your 3D model is optimized. For Lens Studio, but I'm sure it's something that it's easily sortable. It's just Lens Studio. There's a template for it. Export your file out. Put in Lens Studio. There's a template. Use the cloth physics to simulate what it looks like, and then you can just basically play around and you get it to work.
Great. Uh, so great. Thank you so much for your thoughts on that. You want to share? I think you want to share something.
Oh yeah, I was trying to get. Let me see. My Let me see. Okay, it pretty works now.
Okay.
I don't know, for some reason I can't see my snap camera on this, but I'm just gonna share my screen instead. Um, yeah. So this is what I was talking about. You can see me in my space. This is an example of a body tracking experience, and it's basically me using Lens Studio. So I can appear in meetings like this. I tried to just do that on the stream right now, but it didn't come through. So but what this does is I'm able to now appear. This is a wearable NFT, for example. This is popular board ape NFT. You can check it out on Snapchat. And we're creating a lot of NFTs like this, where people who want to appear in the metaverse can appear live as their physical stuff. So yeah, these are the kind of experiences I'm talking about. That I would never have thought of this if I didn't build in public to get feedback. Oh, okay, that can actually be used in this format. Get me?
Great, man. It's super amazing. So we're almost done. Before we close up your session, I would like to ask if you have any advice for people out there that want to learn about XR, what learning resources they should start with. If possible, are they free to reach out to you in case they need guidance or mentorship?
All right, yeah. I'd say if you're going into the particularly the AR space, if you have a design background, I'd say you learn Spark AR or Lens Studio, preferably Lens Studio because it's a lot more powerful right now. Just to get your designs out there, just to get your concepts and just validate your ideas real quick. If you have an engineering background, definitely go for Unity, which is what I currently use right now. I started off with Lens Studio, even though I had an engineering background, but I was able to prototype a couple of stuff fast, and now I'm focused on Unity because Unity is a lot more powerful and a lot more cross-platform. So try just forget all the browsing, forget everything. You just focus on Lens Studio, get projects out, 3 projects or depending on the platform you're selecting, Lens Studio or Unity, get 3 projects out, build in public, get feedback, don't be shy, use platforms like LinkedIn, Twitter, and TikTok. You might leave TikTok for now, but LinkedIn, Twitter are very, very good because they promote good organic content. It's a lot easier for your work to go further on those platforms compared to something like Instagram or Facebook. So actively show your learning, show your working, and I think most importantly, try to have a global mindset from the start. A lot of people don't have that global mindset from the start. Try to think that you're not just creating this for Africans, you're not just creating this for Nigerians. You're creating this for the world. Anybody, anywhere can use your project. Try as much as possible to, I don't want to say brand yourself, but try to have a standard, like set the standard for yourself. You should be like this is the quality of your project, this is the kind of project you have. And if possible, I don't know how possible it is, but you could also niche, depending on interest. Just like Yabode's question when she talked about virtual garments and clothes 3D. For someone who's interested in garments and clothing, it's if you have AR experiences or that you dropped on clothing, the next one on clothing, third one on clothing, and you're dropping it on LinkedIn and Twitter, a clothing brand is going to reach out to you specifically, to reduce the noise. So sometimes I get projects like maybe AR for education or training. These are projects I would love to do as an experiment, but not necessarily as a product. You know, um, so I think if you can combine what you naturally like, if you're in the education space, you like education, try to make sure your AR experiences focus on education back to back, as opposed to having different kind of AR experiences. But if you're still not sure, then I mean you're free to experiment. But if you're sort of sure what you want to do, I think it's very good for you to focus and then actively share what you're doing while you're building it, and when the final product is out. It's really important to show when you're building it. You build up a lot of fans, build up a lot of buzz. People want to see that honest side of you, and then share it when it's out. There are really a lot of tutorials online. They're really like, it's not, when it comes to learning, like there are really a lot of tutorials, so you have a problem with learning. Let's have to know, pick, if you have a design background, pick Lens Studio, get stuff out. If you have an engineering background, go with Unity. You enjoy it more, and get a product out there. Share what you're doing in public. Try your best to niche if you can, and just have fun with the idea.
Yeah, most importantly, you should definitely have fun with whatever you're building, whatever space you are, and just try and be unique. Try and tell your story and just share it to the entire world. Thank you so much, Derek, for joining us. Thank you for sharing what you're doing with XR for Virtual Triumphs, and it's super glad to have you.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a good one.
Great. So thank you all for your time. So this is a continuous stream, and our next session is with Hamed, who is working on an amazing product called Swift XR. So we'll be switching to his own session shortly. So please remain on the stream. Thank you so much.
the difference between augmented reality, virtual reality, and mixed reality. It is a range of experiences. On one hand, we have virtual reality, which is a total immersive experience where you put on a headset and you are disconnected from your environment. Everything you see and interact is a 3D generated object. And on the other hand, for augmented reality, you have a connection to your environment, like in HoloLens, and you have some extra information, maybe 3D or maybe audio information that's available to you, which is augmenting your reality. Also, we have mobile phone applications like Pokemon Go. You are looking through the glass of your phone and you're able to find 3D objects in the real world. And this whole range of experiences we call mixed reality. And short, it's called XR.
Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, so thank you all for waiting, and also super glad each and every one of you have joined the Africa community session on the Global XR conference. Next up, we have Ahmed, an amazing friend of mine, and also leading the VRARA Nigeria chapter. Hello, Ahmed. Can you hear me?
Hey, hi, Arame.
Great.
Nice
to meet you, man. So Ahmed will be sharing his product called Swift XR. I know he has been working on it for a couple of years now, so I think it's super ready for the whole world to see what you can do with this amazing product. So Ahmed?
Yep, great. It seems am I echoing? Am I echoing?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, great. Hello everyone. Really nice to be here. I'm talking at the Global XR conference, and I'll be talking on Swift XR. But before I start, my name is Ahmed Arushegbe. I'm coming from a 3D background with over 6 years experience in 3D, and then in the last 3 years, I've been in XR doing really cool stuff. As Arumi said, I currently chapter the Nigeria via AR with some really, really amazing colleague, and also Arumi has been really super useful and helpful. And then I currently joined Voltio as a senior software engineer. And yes, I'm happy to share, what I've been building, which is SwiftXR, where I work as a lead software engineer. So again, I'll be running through SwiftXR, just our introduction, the features, the roadmap. I'll be sharing some use cases, and then at the same time, we'd also have a live demo. So really, then it's really about what is SwiftXR, and you can go to swiftxr.io to check out the platform. So SwiftXR is a fast, no-code cross-platform development solution for building lightweight, interactive 3D, AR, and VR experiences. Again, concise definition, but with a lot of terminologies. But I'm sure by the time we get to the end of the presentation, you of course would have my idea about what do I mean by fast, what do I mean by no code, and what do I mean by cross-platform, right? We've also gone ahead. We've templated popular WebXR libraries. WebXR is the library that allows us to do really cool stuff on the browser. And then our goal is really we want everyone to be able to create lightweight AR, VR, and XR experiences. So in a nutshell, SwiftXR is a platform that allows you to deploy lightweight AR, VR experiences. As we've moved more towards this metaverse focused era, we are starting to see a lot of people taking interest in building AR solutions, VR solutions. So we are coming out and saying, hey, you don't need to have any coding knowledge. We're trying to build the Microsoft Word for XR. And for now, we're focusing on very lightweight experience, and where anyone can just jump on the platform, drag and drop, and build an XR experience. So again, then we now move to like why exactly are we focusing, on lightweight, right? So what we've seen is we have 3.1 billion devices from the last research that came out that's actually leveraging on web technology for XR. But what we've seen is that most of these AR applications, I mean, now this is like an AR case study. Now most of the AR applications we've seen that people are using are actually try-ons. So again, people just try out a table, a chair, a wristwatch, a footwear. So again, and the normal approach, again, I mean, where people sort of like build out using native approach is very strenuous, because what it means is that for every update you want to make, you need to push an update again to the App Store, to the Play Store, and then for any other update you want to do again, you also need to like now reload again, making user download that kind of experience over and over again, download APK file. This could really be like a drawback for some users. So so we're trying to focus, okay, how can we focus on some of these light try-ons, and allow anyone to be able to build it. So our core focus is we are focusing mainly on, so again, you say video loading, and then you just say just a quick demo of me building something cool with SwiftXR. So again, these are our target, right? Again, we understand the fact that developers that want to build may need more tailored solution, right? So we are saying that what our core target is non-technical users. So we are focusing on people that want to do stuff with XR, right, but don't have that technical background, right? So how can they easily just come on board, and build stuff, right? Ease of use. So a company needs to quickly prototype something, and then you need to go ahead and hire a developer just for that light stuff. You can easily build that kind of experience, using SwiftXR. Or developers looking for quick iteration of prototyping, right? So again, say before you jump into your actual development, you want to easily prototype something, right? Just prototype a quick try on, prototype a quick stuff before you move into development. Or for 3D artists, right? So we've seen a lot of architects, right? They sort of like after 3D models, and then they're trying to convert it into AR or VR kind of application. So what we've done is we've templated SwiftXR to take in some of their popular format, which is FBX formats, and then that does the whole magic for them and just easily converts that process into AR or VR. So what this means is that that architect really don't need to go ahead and getting XR developers. What they just need to do is just jump on SwiftXR, drop their model, and then that's like a ton of time to be saving for them. Or also businesses looking at templated web XR workflows. So again, businesses that sort of like have a kind of like way that sort of like trying to build that stuff, so we can easily build out a template for them that just drag and drop to change their models. So again, some of the key features for SwiftXR is we've incorporated a web local storage system, right? And then because what we've understood is because the future of the XR is going to be 3D model focused. So meaning that you need to work with 3D models, right? Your model could be spanning from, let's say, 5 MB to like 200 MB. Sometimes can even go up to like 1 gigabyte, depending on what is that support on the web. Now, if most current tools that we have currently now, would require you to upload those models to a server. So imagine you have a 200 MB 3D model size. You have to upload that 200 MB into a server, right? Wait for like some few minutes for it to upload, and then before you now have to like download that same model back to use it in application, right? And I know this is like a really, really can really make development process very slow. So what we've done is we've built a local storage system that works on your browser, but at the same time leverages on your system storage. So meaning that you have like 1 to 5 seconds for upload speed. So once less than 1 second if you're uploading a model that's less than 200 MB, and then if you're uploading a model that's close to 1 gigabyte, it's going to upload that model in less than 5 seconds. Then we've also set up like a 15 gigabytes web storage system, and of course we can also like increase the limit depending on what we feel like is your need. And then one of another key feature which is very nice for us is we've supported 3D support for non-WebXR devices. And again, what this means is a lot of devices out there, especially in this kind of Nigeria and Africa parts, do not support XR, right? And then the challenge will be that, how do you get to now build that experience for them? So device supports XR, that is like AR, VR, nice, they can do it. But what happens to devices that do not support AR, VR? What will happen to them? So what we'll have is that we'll have interactive 3D support for them, right? So we can always run that 3D model on the web, right? And that can run on all devices. So if a device do not support AR or VR, what would happen is you just have that experience in 3D where you can just like easily scroll around it. And then if you support AR or VR, you get to be prompted to jump into AR or VR. And currently, we don't have any deploy license, right? So what this means is that we are using like a one-click deploy. And this is like a very, very big stuff on SwiftXR, right? Because again, if you understand, if you're trying to build AR, VR experience, especially on the web, there are a lot of things you need to pack. I mean, considering the fact that you need to optimize your 3D model, compress some images, pack your JavaScript, a lot of stuff we've done. So what we've done is we've taken those whole process, we've done it for you at the back end, and then we're just giving just simple stuff in front, which is just saying, you know what, just input the name of your site and press deploy site, right? And then that process just makes that whole process very simple for non-technical people. So what does our current roadmap look like? We are currently on our alpha version. We are running it with a lot of users. Publicly, it's open on the website. Anyone can use our platform for free. And over now, we've gotten over to 3,000 people already trying stuff already with SwiftXR. And then, so that's it. Then we've done the first version, which is non-interactive 3D support for non-WebXR devices. So the next thing you are moving to, which is something we're currently working, is a support multi-format 3D model, right? If you're familiar with the web, again, if you're new to the web, a particular format that really works well on the web is a GLB. That is a .glb file. The same way you have a .jpeg for your pictures, a .png for your pictures, you have .glb. So what we've done is we've said, okay, you know what, if you're coming from any kind of background, right, you're coming from an architecture, background, you're working with a .fbx model, right, how can you bring that fbx into SwiftXR? Then we undo the conversion for you. We turn it into a GLB file for you. If you're coming in from a 3D printing background, like a mechanical background that you work with a .stl file, you bring that .stl, we do the whole conversion for you and turn that stl into a GLB file for you. They were currently working on releasing image tracking, face tracking, and object tracking components, that work cross platform. So what we have now is just, an alpha version that just does, interactive 3D. And then, but we're working on other APIs that does, image tracking, face tracking, and object tracking. And also in a way that a non-technical person can use it. Then we are also, and again, this is our key focus, which is, something we're really keen on. That is creating 2D to 3D model API to ease WebXR content development. So the goal of SwiftXR, is to be the Microsoft word for XR, meaning that we want, anyone to be able to create, very lightweight XR experiences without writing any line of code, and also make that whole UX, that the whole experience for them very easy. Now, we understand you need that, a non-technical person may not even have idea about what 3D model is, or even how to create a 3D model. So what we're working on is, how can we work on a very nice 2D to 3D API? So for example, we had this stuff we did that sort of like that converts, PNG to an artwork, right? So you take a picture of an artwork, you drop the picture into SwiftXR, and then we take that picture, we convert it into a 3D model of the artwork. Then we plan to work on other APIs, such as, can we dynamically generate a cake for you? So let's say you want to do like an app that sort of like wish someone, happy birthday. Can we sort of like dynamically generate a cake for you? Just type the person name and then we'll just create the whole cake for you. Likewise to things like a book. Let's say you have a book and they want to generate, the front cover and the back cover of the book. How do we do that? And so now I'll be jumping more into use case. Again, if you have questions, feel free to drop it in the chat. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. So now we have our use cases, and this is some of the stuff we've been people have been able to do with SwiftXR. Now the first one is Covea, right? And this really was very big for us because it was our product is in alpha, right? And then companies are not able to build on SwiftXR to do stuff, right? So this is a real estate company, right? And then looking at the accessibility issue we have in Africa, for example, it might be tough to start paying developers a huge amount of money, right? So we developed a templated workflow for them, right? So by using SwiftXR, they just come in, the architect come in, drop the FBX model inside it, and then boom, it convert that experience into a very nice AR/VR experience on the web, right? And then you can see them, they're actually featured on Business Day, and they also had their launch. And it was also the native AR work we did. So just like a test with an artwork, right? So you upload the picture of an artwork, we convert that picture into a 3D model, right? Saying that okay, as a non-technical person, you don't need to stress yourself about generating the old 3D model. Just upload the picture of the artwork. We do that for you, and then you can display that artwork, in your space. This will be good for companies that actually want to sell artworks. This could be a way to promote it. And this was also very huge for us, which is because again, I always like to feature this because I feel it was very huge. So this was a medical student, right? And this was more like a validation to what we're trying to build, right? There was a medical student, has no experience, has no idea about XR, has no experience about 3D model, right? And then the goal was she wanted to create something like a blog post, right? Which is a blog post about the World Health, the World Diabetes Day. She jumped on SwiftXR, just easily strap something up, and then she was able to build, an interactive, site, that has 3D model, and then you could also view it in AR, right? And then this sort of like ties down to our vision of, we want to be like the Microsoft Word for XR, saying that, we want people to be able to build things in XR without having, technical experience or coding experience. And yes, I will jump into a live demo showcasing I'm building something light with SwiftXR. Just trying to share my screen.
I'm here for you though.
Okay, let me have to take down my screen. So I'll just share a new
Okay.
one.
So guys, if you have any questions for Ahmed about his product, drop it in the chat.
Is my screen good?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, good. So I'll go to just go to swiftxr.io, right? And then you have this, right? So you can see I have a lot of stuff I've done. So I'm going to just do one, pick a blank template and call it the Global XR Conference, right? Or should I call it Arumi? I mean, that would be nice. Then I could do create, right? And then when I create that, my name, it will initialize the editor for me, right? And then I have this blank stuff. So let's say I want to do something real quick. I could just come here, again, I can switch to desktop or mobile. You can switch to night mode, or day mode. So I'm going to start with this, right? I can just drop this here, right? And this is really more like, the old row. And I could say, what, I want the dimension to be, let's say like an 100%. I can view it. So that's just sort of like take the whole screen. You come here and I could drop a text and say, let's say Global XR Conference, right? So again, I go to the typography, change the font size to Georgia. Maybe if I want my font size to 32 and I want it to be centered, right? No, I'm happy with this. Then I have this, we have this as a way to just drag the model of your component, and this helps you load the 3D model. I could say, hey, I want the dimension to be, let me say 70%. So that just like, it makes it top. And then I have this, I have this default 3D model here that comes with it, right? And again, we have some assets we've put it for you that you could play around with. So you could just drag, for example, a ball and drop it here just to see how that look like. And you see that changes to a ball. You could click this also, change it to an art, right? And you see, sort of like have the art here. It's, again, not the best 3D model, but we could work with one. And then likewise, you could also come here, and also change the decoration, right? You want the background to be something, you could also change it to, change the background color of what that looks like. And we also have some settings here, right? Where, if your model has an animation, you can enable it. This doesn't have an animation, right? You could also do you want it to be native experience or a WebXR experience, others. You can also control the shadow strength, you can make it thicker, or the light exposure also, right? Darker or lighter. The environmental time, you can also take it to neutral. That's like changes, what that stuff look like. They also have this button. So that's sort of like shows on devices that support AR where you can do stuff with it. And then with this, I could, come here and maybe do like 16 here. And then I have this. And really, you could easily just, and you can see me like I'm trying doing this, right? And I'm not writing any sort of code, which looks, to me is actually like very awesome. And I feel like if you're watching this, you definitely want to try it out because you can build stuff without writing code. I mean, and it works. And yeah, I could just want to just make this a little bit darker, so I could change it to a dark version of it, and change the text also, the color of the text to like a white version of it, and then I have this view space. So let's say I'm done with everything, right? I get to view it. If you want to do some NFT stuff with it, you can also like see the JSON data you can use for your NFT. You can also view the source code in case what would that have looked like if you wanted to write it from scratch. You could see the source code, and then once you're done, just come to generate quick URL, the last button here, and then that generates this link. You have Global XR conference, and just press deploy, right? And by pressing deploy, it tells you if it's done, and you say we have this deployed successfully, and then now I can view this on the web. And then anyone can actually go to this link, and see it, right? Because of on my laptop, they don't support AR, I don't get to see the button. But if I'm on a smartphone that supports AR, the button will show you, and I can take this object into AR. And also, it also comes like update, so I could say, I could just like come here, I could type something here and say, I was with, Arome, right? Nice, and I could also come here and just update it. And once that does that, right, I'll just cancel this and just reload this, right? And then when I do that, you say it has this Arome that was there. So this is again a quick demo on how to use SwiftXR, and I really hope you enjoy it. So I'll be back to StreamYard to take any questions.
Great. Thank you so much, Ahmed, for the amazing presentation. I love your product, by the way. I love how simple it is to use. Even though you are preaching the no code kind of experience, but it will be great for people to have at least a basic understanding of how to code, right? So far, what do you feel has been the limitations for XR adoption in Africa? What are your thoughts and experiences about that?
Yeah, I would say for me, I feel the first one would be access to resources, right? So as you know, the exchange rate is not really funny, over here in Africa, right? And then you're trying to build stuff with XR, you need access to a gaming system, you need access to some of these devices. Once you do the conversion in Africa, that's like some really huge money that an average developer would be able to afford. So I'll say number one challenges it would be access to device. The other one would also be access to resources. So one of the things that sort of like that drove me to building Swift is I feel not everyone like really wants to code. Not everyone really wants to do the technical stuff. They want to do other stuff, right? And then but they still want to be in XR. So what are the tools that they can use? Just like jump into it. And because I've sort of like built some of this in experiences before, and I saw the amount of like repetition that was there, writing the same amount of code over and over, over and over. So yeah.
Amazing. And I would say congratulations on your recent move, right, to Vault. Amazing work you are doing so far, and I believe with your new role, right, what should we be expecting from Vault Hill and also the metaverse you all are trying to build over there?
No, I'm said, one of the core focus at Voltio is we are trying to build, an human-centric metaverse, which I would say, is the first, that I've seen. And, and then really now we are really on like, on the architecture kind of that side of stuff, really trying to figure out, what is the best approach to this. And, the team is really strong. And yes, I'm sure like what the definition of from Volty would be, I'm saying an human centric metaverse, really cool stuff.
Great, great. I wish you all the very best. I know you guys are representing Africa, and I know it's going to be really, really huge. So before we round up, what's your advice for anybody out there in Africa, across the world that wants to learn about XR? What are your that word that you would basically share to them to inspire them to just get started?
Yeah, I would say like be passionate and persistent. I'm just like the two word I love to use many time I'm talking, right? You need to be passionate in the sense that you need to love what you're doing so that when things come to you and then it's not really the best, you can keep going. And then you need to be persistent so that you just have the strength energy to keep going. You wake up in the midnight, your system, you're working, you just that energy to keep going.
The energy is very important. The energy, the drive, and the determination to just believe in what you're building and just believe you can change the world from your little sitting room, right? So don't be scared. Just get started. Thank you so much, Ahmed, for sharing your product and the amazing work you're doing. And I wish you the very best with Votil. We can't wait to see the amazing stuff you guys will be building soon.
Thank you, Arame, and really appreciate being on the Global Excel conference.
Great. Thank you so much. See you soon, man.
See you too.
Bye-bye. So, guys, thank you so much for joining us. So I jumped from one stream to another. So our next session will be featuring some amazing XR creators in Africa that are doing great stuff with XR for arts, culture, and tourism. So we'll be having Daniel from Ethiopia and my amazing new friends from Botswana that are doing some great stuff with this technology. So join us soon. See you soon.
What's the difference between augmented reality, virtual reality, and mixed reality? It is a range of experiences. On one hand, we have virtual reality, which is a total immersive experience where you put on a headset and you are disconnected from your environment. Everything you see and interact is a 3D generated object. And on the other hand, for augmented reality, you have a connection to your environment, like in HoloLens, and you have some extra information, maybe 3D or maybe audio information that's available to you, which is augmenting your reality. Also, we have mobile phone applications like Pokemon Go. You are looking through the glass of your phone and you're able to find 3D objects in the real world. And this whole range of experiences we call mixed reality. And short, it's called XR.
Hello, hello, hello. So thank you all for waiting. So our next session will be titled "The Future of Africa in the Metaverse." Right. So we'll be having Daniel from Ethiopia and also a couple of my friends, amazing people from Botswana. So I'll be adding Daniel to the stream. Daniel, can you hear me? Hello, Daniel. Oh. Okay. So next up is Tebogo and Mr. Kozo. Hi guys.
Hey,
Hi.
Ibrahim.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Am I the only one that is using video here? Please turn on your videos if
No,
you can.
unfortunately, I don't know what's up with my laptop. I've been struggling for like half an hour to
Ah,
get connection. I'm pretty bummed out right now.
your audio is fine. We can do with that. Right. So nice to see each and every one of you. Super excited about our session. Right. So we'll be talking about the future of Africa in the metaverse, and I'll allow you guys to introduce yourselves. Starting with Daniel. Daniel, got you. Can you introduce yourself? Your mic,
Sorry. Can you hear me, Arme?
loud and clear.
Awesome. Thanks for inviting me. And my name is Daniel, and I'm the founder of Guzo Technologies. It's a company based in Ethiopia that focus on VR. I think in general we can say XR, and we do mostly for the historical heritage and arts and also different cultures of Africa in general. So we try to digitalize all those historical heritage and just gamify them and bring them to life or to the metaverse. I think for today's topic, that's what we do.
Great. Nice work you're doing, Daniel. I've been a huge fan of what you guys are doing with XR for heritage in Ethiopia, and I can't wait for the entire world to see your amazing demo and the experiences you have achieved so far. So let me introduce you all to Teddy. We just connected day before yesterday, and it's as if we have been friends for for how many years? Debbie, could you introduce yourself? Yeah, Debbie. Debbie, sorry. Could you introduce yourself? Can you hear me? Bella, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Great. I think Temugo is having network issues also. Could you
Yes.
introduce yourself?
All right. Thank you so much for this platform, Ibrahim. My name is Ndogozo, Ndogozo Vela. I'm from Zimbabwe, based in Botswana, and a co-founder of Infinity VR. And what we do here is we create immersive stories. We transport our people and culture through time wherever they want to go.
Amazing work, I must say.
Yeah.
So before we start, I would love each and every one of us to share a brief experience about our journey, right? So Daniel, how has it been so far with XR, and how did all this start for you?
It's a long story. Okay.
Make it
Let's
short.
say the first reason I think for us to join this technology is, especially in keeping the historical heritage of Africa, is most wars and this kind of natural disasters are highly affecting places like different countries like in Europe or in maybe in the Middle East. We've seen different terrorists attack those historical heritage. So we feel like we are missing something. There is this technology, and I think using it for something good and keeping those histories for the future generations through XR will be the next or the future way of presenting those historical places. So that's I think the reason why we just started by making really simple virtual tour-based websites. And my background is also in computer science, and I remember like working on similar projects in virtual tour for my campus. So new graduates, new students that will be coming to the university can find the compound easily, and they will be familiarize themselves with different places. So those were like the the first things that took us to this technology. But I feel personally, even before Facebook announced the metaverse and everything, we have seen different movies and those virtual worlds. So I think we can bring most African heritage into this kind of virtual worlds, and that easily we will be a fit on the maybe in the big market, especially you can say it in NFTs. So I think that that's like the future we've seen, so that we keep developing different projects and also provide different services to companies which are located abroad and locally. So I think this is like the starting point, but the reason why we chose the historical heritage is, especially if you come to in Ethiopia, there are really number of places which are not even visited by the local people. So they are not even that much known. And we want to bring those amazing stories to the world in a way everybody could understand and experience it as they are physically going to that place and visit. So that's the whole point behind our background in XR.
Amazing journey, I must say. And your story is really, really amazing. Like how you guys are focusing on using XR for good, right? XR for impact, which is also very important.
Yeah.
Vela, right? Vela, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So tell us your story. How did this journey begin for you with XR?
I was actually in class, by the way. There we go. I was actually in class, and I'm studying real estate, and at that point, that was around 2019, and we're kind of conceptualizing on what would be a disruptive technology in the real estate market, and we got to think, and eventually I started doing a bit of research and found this immersive media concept. And we have been trying to drive at it, and about in May we received a rare opportunity from one of the investment liaison office here in Botswana to sort of immerse the viewers of the Delta, of the Global Expo in Dubai, to immerse them in the Delta experience. And so that's pretty much where our journey has began. And so far we've been servicing mining companies, we've been servicing communities, and yeah, the journey has been really a wave, this far, and I'll allow Tebi, now that she's in the room, to sort of also tell her story. Welcome, Tebi.
Yeah,
Finally, good to.
welcome. Yeah, Debbie. So could you introduce yourself so our
Hi,
audience
sorry
can
guys.
know
It's
you?
just I now the dog is barking, so
It's fine. It's fine.
virtual
We are used to
meetings
it.
happen like that. You get surprises. We're literally looking forward to this with NT, and then all of a sudden my network just boom, and my puppy decided to bark. Hi everyone. Sorry guys. Yes, we started this business this year. And I think because of the lockdown last year, professionally, I'm an interior architect. I run an interior design company, and we work with clients they are looking at, sometimes they want to understand their business through, spaces, you need to move around that space. So it's one of those things that we felt we could actually do, and we partnered with NT. And it has been a very interesting and exciting journey for us, especially that it's something new for the country.
Sorry, Debbie. I think your network is having
Yeah,
trouble.
we're kind of losing the year a little bit.
Yeah, Debbie. Debbie, sorry. Can you do without your video? That will help. Okay, so you can do without your video. It will help definitely. So Daniel, so we know you guys won a grant from Unreal Engine, right? And I know that has so far boosted you guys to work on some amazing projects. So could you share with the audience how you guys were able to win that grant and what you have so far achieved with the funds you received?
That's a good question, Arome. I think these days after the grant announcement, the most asked question to Guzo Technologies is how we want those amazing grants. I mean, I can start from the lockdown. That's where things go down, especially for our company, because it's been like it was 6 months after the establishment of the startup when the pandemic enters like the whole world and makes things horrible. So it's really hard for us to do a lot of projects with our plan because most contracts were cancelled and as you know, governments and all other institutions were focusing on their own stuff, especially things that relate to the pandemic response. So we've been like looking for different partners and brands, and since we are also using Unreal Engine as our main uh, uh, engine to create this kind of experience, we uh, regularly check their website and all those announcements, and we've seen different winners even before we apply and we know about the $100 million grant opportunities for different creators. So let's say we we just try, and if things go down as other projects or other proposals, it's okay, but let's at least try. That's how we discussed with our team, and there is a website provided, Unreal Engine's website, and you just feel not more than like 15 questions, which are really simple. They just want to understand the idea behind the project and how you are committed enough to bring those things into reality. So we've been prototyping different things and experimented with a lot of projects, which exclusively shared to their team, so that the committee will see it and judge if this team is capable enough to get that grant. So I mean, we applied and it took 6 months to get the final approval. In the meantime, I had a chance to meet the head of the Mega Grants program. He's the director, and he wanna see how we are progressing. That's where I just present what we are capable of and what we've been doing for the past few months. And he was so excited. He also admired how we come up with that kind of ideas under all this kind of messy situation. So yeah, the decision is made by an anonymous committee. That's what I know. So nobody knows who's gonna win and when we will win. We just keep waiting. And I remember exactly in a year. I mean, last year around Christmas we get on Christmas Day. By the way, that day was an Ethiopian Christmas, and we got this email from Epic Games that we won the Epic grants. Even they gave us like what we asked. So that's also one achievement. They didn't like this took some discount or did minimize the amount. So they gave us that. But as of the projects that we are planning, it will be a huge investment. So what we announced was instead of doing one simple project that we propose, let's make it like 4 projects. Since Ethiopia is it has different regions and nations, nationalities, we want to just give this opportunity to those different entities. So we announced 4 projects. We released 2 of them. Maybe I can show you the trailers later on so that it will tease the people and everybody can check it out. And we are about to launch the third one, maybe mid December this month. That's the plan. And the fourth one, unfortunately, we are also some kind of civil war. It's hard to move from one place to another place. So that's why we took that much time. But I think looking for this kind of grant opportunities will help different indie creators and startups in Africa, especially to boost their projects and accelerate their deliverables to the community. Because one thing that I know in Africa is there are really capable and talented individuals, but the financing is terrible. So nobody trusts you. I mean, we got a lot of appreciations. Everybody will admire your project, even the investors, but they don't invest. I mean, that's the problem here in Africa. We want to convince them, and we just told them to the Epic Games, this is not an investment. That's what they say. This is not an investment. It's dedicated to the project that you are contributing. So, yeah, this project will help us to come up with based visibility, especially to the investors, so that they will be convinced. So that announcement, just forget about the money, but that title, when Google Technologies won that award, everybody will be were like motivated, and they were contacting. So selectively, we brought a few people to our studio and show them the whole experience, which is it requires green screen and all those things. So I think we are doing our best and waiting for the second grant.
Amazing. Well done. I love how you guys were persistent, even if it looks like it was scary to apply. But you gave it a shot. If it's a yes, fine. If it's a no, we move. Right? Just as you say in Nigeria, we move. So everybody out there, just give it a shot. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
just
give it
go.
a shot. Yeah, who knows what might happen.
Yeah.
Tabby, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Great. Sorry about your network.
Oh gosh, why is it embarrassing me last day? Yeah.
No, it's fine. It's fine. So I know you guys are doing some great work with XR in Botswana. Though we don't see Botswana usually on the map, like the XR map in Africa, as a space doing great stuff, right? So how are you guys? What are you guys? What are your roadmap to boost the XR community in Botswana and make the world know that you guys are really doing great stuff in that space?
I think for us, it's about education, to have a buy-in for our community, because this is something new for Africa, for Botswana. So we're starting to slowly introducing the idea for them to have a buy-in and say, what can we do in terms of cultural tourism? We have rich culture, we've got beautiful people, we've got the landscape, everything is so beautiful. How can you create your own avatar through your cultural tourism, and also to educate the kids? Kids are amazing. And by the way, Africa has got the youngest population. So why can't we start with the kids, youth, students who are at the universities? When you're talking metaverse, you're thinking, if you're talking to somebody who's older, they can't imagine this. And I think we should start with the kids. Yeah.
I love
I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you. I love your focus on education and orientation. It's very important. A lot of people are crazy about XR in Africa, but they don't know how to start. They don't know where to go to learn, right? And we also need to have localized learning platforms and learning materials that are tailored towards the African space. So it will be easy to have a lot of people jump into XR the right way. So Vela, back to you. I know you guys have done some projects using XR and also 360 VR, right?
Yes.
And from your own perspective, how do you feel organizations and, if possible, government agencies can adopt XR for art and also heritage digitization?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. One of the other things that we are continuously challenging our governments is to say you need to be able to create an ecosystem to allow us to be able to create a metaverse. What is the digital penetration in our economy? How are you opening up the bandwidth to public schools, to private schools? These are some of the conversations that we're trying to engage in corporates to say, guys, we are in the next 5 to 10 years, we need to be embracing these global trends. Right now, the metaverse, as Facebook announced, will be a virtual world. And one of the things that we are doing currently, because it's been new, and for the first time we've been able to get traction in the corporate world, in them understanding what VR and XR is about. We are trying to continuously educate. We are continuously having meetings on a daily basis to try and like Tebi said, focus on teaching them. It starts with the kids. We want to educate the kids in the way that they need to be prepared. They with metaverse, you're looking at blockchain, you're looking at cloud computing, you're looking at data center servers, you're looking at IT technology, your connectivity. So those are our stakeholder engagements, such that we are able to create an ecosystem to allow such innovation to take place. So we are continuously engaging with corporates, educating them on the benefits of VR, giving them these experiences. I mean, BITC had done a VR experience, but they allowed us to do, work for them, and they showcased it at Dubai Expo. And one of the feedback we got was there was a couple that went into the expo and to the booth, and they experienced the VR experience of the Okavango Delta, which is one of the heritage sites of Africa. And it became a scene. They had never been blown away by this marvel, and they started doing a dance. And hopefully, I'll be able to share with you. But it was just something that for them it felt like, wow, this is amazing. This is what Africa is about. So we are trying to break those barriers so that people understand that Africa is a crown jewel for what we are having. For XR and VR and everything. We are an innovative continent, and we need to start breaking those walls down and owning our space and owning our identity as Africans.
Sure, sure. I can totally relate with you. Africa is super beautiful. Africa is amazing, and I believe this is another opportunity for us to use a technology that can immerse people in virtual spaces to showcase the amazing scenery, the amazing environment we have here in Africa. So I will allow you guys to showcase some experiences you have developed so far. So Daniel, if you could load up your own experience. So Teddy, can you hear me? Okay. Somebody dropped a feedback. He said from Prince. He said, let's create a WhatsApp group and mobilize, because that's how we can move forward. So Prince, moving forward is not just having a WhatsApp group, right? A WhatsApp group cannot contain the entire XR creatives in Africa. What we just need to do, I believe, is to create our own content, create our own African-based content, and see how we can collaborate and partner with each other. Like collaboration and partnership is some of the hindrances we have here in Africa. We need to collaborate as one continent. I have Daniel in Ethiopia that is doing amazing stuff with XR. I have amazing friends in Kenya and South Africa. We can all collaborate and do stuff that will really showcase what we have here on the continent. Are you ready to showcase your stuff? Daniel, is your presentation ready?
I prepared the videos,
Okay,
and maybe I will explain a few things. How much? For how long should I?
3 minutes. 3 minutes max.
3 minutes. Okay.
So let me know when you're ready. Let me add it to the stream.
Sure. I think my screen is now shared. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can. You can.
Perfect. So I think let me just play this first 2 minutes video and say something, because it has all the videos. All the projects that we've made, and I will just say a few things.
Technology company. It was amazing. So you're from Ethiopia, Addis Ababa, representing a startup company called Kuzo Technologies.
Hi, Rami. I think this will explain a lot.
Yeah.
We have made different projects in live virtual production, mixed reality, virtual reality, extended reality. I think those different projects, it's hard to show all at the same time, but having this trailer will give more of the projects. Maybe people can go and check the videos and specifically to each and every project. But one thing just to say is we do photogrammetry heavily for taking the 3D scanning of the actual statues, historical heritage sites. That's how we bring them to life, especially to the virtual reality world. And I think it's good to mention the tools as well. We use reality capture. It's also one of the best photogrammetry tool which is in the world, and this is what we have used even for most of our projects. Even you can see it on my back. There is Tia. This is one of the UNESCO inscribed sites. There are actually around 41 kind of different statues in the same place. So we use that kind of power to just bring into life using Unreal Engine, because that's a real-time engine we use. And one of the services is that we sell is virtual productions. We have a studio. I think you have seen 3 different videos on the first trailer, but I think we have done a lot of projects this year after we made the trailer. So that is also one good use case of XR. Thanks to the Lion King movie, I think we've discussed this last year. It shows us the way to bring those physical techniques, the camera techniques, and all those professional skills into a virtual world and bring really awesome experience. So that's how we use. I think that's the most projects we've made so far after maybe the grant, we can say. And finally, the mixed reality. And also some of the extended reality products that we experimented. I think you have seen a guy riding a bike. So that's actually an ordinary bike. We just added few components which are open source that can be connected to Unreal Engine using serial communication. I think if you know Arduino or any IoT hardware, it's easier to work on a serial-based communication. So that's how we communicate or interface to Unreal Engine. And people can experience virtual worlds with a bike. So you can ride in a virtual space wearing some kind of VR headset. So we want to make not only the virtual contents, but also few hardwares that we are capable of creating, designing from Africa. So we have a couple of projects to be announced this year, especially after 2022, after January, the coming months. So yeah, those are the major projects we've been doing.
Well done, well done. I love how you guys are working around the arts, culture, and heritage space. It's a lot of work, right? A lot of work to digitize the amazing content on the African continent, but it's a step at a time. Even for us here in Nigeria, we still have a lot of challenges to overcome to sensitize and enlighten people about the need to really treasure our past, right? So to create experiences for the future, our future children, to have the opportunity to envision or visualize what we have currently. Vela, are you able to share?
Yes, boss.
Great. Just share your screen and you can see it.
Can you see my screen?
There's no better way
Yes, we
to
can.
grasp the smoothness
So
of
you can see the
Delta
beautiful
region than
streams
flying
there.
over it in a light helicopter. We are currently flying over the Kwai River in the northern region of the Moremi Game Reserve. The river is
These
one
are
of
some of the
many
streams
branches
that
of
feed
Banshee
into,
Delta,
the delta.
and
As you
place
can
where
see, I'm in
people
the background there.
This is Africa's most exclusive safari destination with over 60 lodges, with some only accessible by air. The locals here call it Fofo, in English, flying in the air. The Kwai community who live here, an inspirational example of local community who live in peaceful harmony with wildlife. Music and dance is a huge part of all of Botswana's culture. We are always happy to welcome guests at Kwai Expeditions Camp. Early mornings here are always magical. It's an amazing feeling to be in such an untouched, biodiverse place. Breathing in the fresh air as the sun hits your face with the Dumela Ra. That's good morning in Setswana. Being on a safari is the main activity out here, with all sorts of wild animals to keep the nature lovers and photographers entertained for hours. If you're not careful, you could miss something rather obvious. Just look behind you. There are over 500 species of birds to be spotted across a massive 1,500 square kilometers with an estimated 260,000 mammals that call this place home. Botswana has the world's largest population of elephants, around 130,000. You are always likely to bump into something fascinating at Moremi Game Reserve. These are juvenile giraffes. Oh no, we've spooked them away. Let's leave them alone. Don't worry, just stay still. He's friendly. We are proud of the work that we've done to conserve our natural environment. This is one of the most iconic natural areas on the planet and is listed as the 1000th UNESCO World Heritage Site. This wetland landscape is woven together with great intricacy. It is a vast network of rivers, streams, and channels, mostly carved out with hippo trails over thousands of years. Enjoying the ride? Discover the watery heart of this majestic landscape by exploring the intricate network of winding channels and classy lagoons with a boat cruise safari. The unique perspective of the boat offers great sightings of animals and the wetland park. When on the water, you can safely approach the animals without disturbing them. This is a wonderful privilege to be immersed in nature and its animals in this way. You can see for yourself why this is one of the 7 natural wonders of Africa. The Mokoro is the local Setswana word for a traditional canoe. The area's first human inhabitants traversed these wild waterways using this kind of vessel. And today, you can still do the same. This is one of the top must-do experiences when coming here. As you glide over the clean, clear water, lay back and simply appreciate the ambience. Enjoy the tranquil waterways and spoil yourself with a magnificent tour of the Delta. Thank you for visiting today. We look forward to welcoming you in person someday. Botswana, our pride, your destination.
Africa is beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, that's one of the most beautiful worlds you can ever immerse yourself in. The production was amazing. It was an amazing experience, both a learning curve, because of the constraints that we had and the vastness of it. It's such a huge place to cover. There are like 300,000 elephants there. The mileage that you need to cover in trying to capture this wildlife is just amazing. And I'd implore anyone out there in Africa to come and visit the Okavango Delta and and enjoy that. Now, how did you guys find it?
I'm speechless. Like, where's my passport? I need to.
Daniel, I hope I'll be seeing you soon in Botswana. Yeah.
Yeah, I was immersed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, lovely. Thank
it
you so
was
much.
amazing. You
Yes,
guys did
amazing.
great, and yeah. Wow. So before we round up, I would like you all to share your thoughts on basically the metaverse and where you see Africa occupying that space in the future, and basically what you think the metaverse would do for the African continent. Daniel, your
Yeah.
mic.
Okay. Thanks, Harumi. So I think the metaverse, I don't want to, uh, I, I just want to share this thing, especially for an African talents like us working on this kind of XR space. This is not a new thing. We've been developing different contents, but the way we present it was in different aspects. It could be in AR, it could be in VR. We use different platforms, but this is where we can contribute all our contents to a community, especially Facebook. It's a great platform. There is also an upcoming platform like Niantic. They are announcing big chunk of money to AR development. So this is where those big companies are competing to dominate this world. So I don't think we have to get distracted. Instead, we need to focus on generating or just bringing all those talents to the world, especially to see ourselves fit to this kind of market. We've been doing this for the software development and every technical aspect for the previous maybe 5, 10 years. That's what I know. I joined the modern software development as a team, but this is where we need to shift and focus on creating contents. When I say contents, one thing that I missed to tell you is like we gamify things. Like there are different hardwares, there are those virtual worlds, but without the experience, without the interactions, without having some kind of gamification on top of those contents, it won't be that much attractive to the outside world. Because what I've seen when I visited France last year, especially on the Level Virtual Summit, they've been like working on a ton of projects, but
Hello.
Seems like we're losing
Yeah, I
Daniel
think
there.
Daniel has some network issues. Well, it's fine. It's fine. I think he'll be back.
Yes, no, he'll be back.
So Bella, your thoughts?
The metaverse is quite an interesting development that has come up into our lives, and it's a great opportunity for us to find out as Africans what we are doing to get ourselves ready for such for us to embrace such technologies. I mean, right now we're still looking at an economy like, for example, Botswana, where you find that most people don't have access to internet in as much as there is internet, but the devices allowing them to access, internet. Most users are using social bundles to access the internet, and if we don't change our policies as Africans in terms of how we connect, how we are connecting the African world, then we still are behind in the metaverse. We're still talking about 4G, 5G. As far as I'm concerned, the metaverse needs a powerful bandwidth in order for the exchange of information to happen. So we are still like what Daniel was saying, and he's saying we need to focus on what we're doing now. That is continue, our connectivity penetration in our countries. We need to educate and change, or rather impact the educational sector by inspiring these young kids to think about the metaverse. We're just having a meeting this morning, and we were telling our audience that it starts with the children. if we are able to bring that concept into the classroom, into these discussions, it then helps the child to embrace and feed their minds with this innovation, this possibility. And if we don't start at the kids, we might not be having enough mileage to actually bring about the metaverse. It's a good concept. I've seen some amazing work by these big tech giants, but are we allowing them to create the metaverse for us as Africans? And who is going to create the metaverse for us? Are we going to give them and seed all our IP, our information, our identity, and all these things? Who's going to be responsible for creating the metaverse? Those are some of the questions that we need to start asking now. So I feel like those are my thoughts at the moment about it. We need to create it, not allow these tech giants to continuously evade our space where we are a young and brilliant mind. Let's start teaching kids how to code. Let's start teaching kids about blockchain. Let's start having more interactions around, getting towards or preparing us towards the metaverse.
Great one. I love your focus and your attention on education, right? Even for us here in Nigeria, we are still trying to see how we can get the educational institutions to adopt XR, support schools and also teachers to use emerging technologies to teach, because the future is going digital, and most of our kids are still stuck in the blackboard or the whiteboard. We need to transform learning and see how we can digitize some of our culture, some of our identity, right, in the metaverse, right? Even if it's going to be built by some of the big companies, we also need to own that credit. We need to own that uniqueness that Africa has, and I believe with time we would have amazing content creators from the continent that would build something we can definitely call our own, right? But it's still not bad to support any global initiative or any global project currently underway. I think Daniel is ready. Yeah. So Daniel, sorry, your network was having issues. Yeah. So your final thoughts, so we can round up.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying we need to focus on the talents instead of more into the technology, because the technology is already there and we can just approach anytime. There is Web3 coming in our ways, which is we are now shifting from the second version to the third one. Things will become decentralized. That's the whole concept going around everywhere. So I want to just say, for example, we've been sharing few things. Let me show you one thing, if possible. Can you see my screen or me?
Not okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is one of the spiritual / cultural celebration of Mescal. Basically, we say it's Damara. It's also inscribed in UNESCO. And what we prototyped here is it's like the actual replica of the cultural experience that you can do. And imagine having a social VR, and you can invite your friend from maybe US or Europe or any of the countries, like from any part of the world, and you can celebrate with that person. So this is like one world, and we are trying to do those kind of experiments piece by piece for the metaverse, and contributing this kind of experiences to the African metaverse. So the one thing that I just agree with Vela, I guess, is we have to do we need to just give them everything that we have, or can we just contribute or make things by ourselves? So for that, we have to understand how the technology works. We don't have to rely on third party like platforms in general. So we need to have our own and African made products, and for that we need the talents. yeah, that's what we are up to and struggling to achieve this kind of visions in general.
Yeah, I can relate, right? It all goes down to talent. We need everybody to jump into this tech as soon as possible. Jump in the right way. Don't just jump in and jump out, right? Jump in, be passionate about it, and follow through, right? And we believe with that, would have some amazing projects, just like how Ahmed from Nigeria built a platform that you can build XR experiences with no code, right? Those are the kind of
I was
products
saying that
and
it's
yeah,
amazing.
those are the kind of products and solutions we need from the continent, and to just show that we still have talents, right? We still have talents here that are doing amazing stuff, and I can't wait for the future of this tech, right? And see how we can contribute to building the infrastructure for the metaverse.
True.
It's time, right? We should wrap up the session. And I'm super glad you all joined this short and amazing session and shared your experiences, right? Just like I told Vela, we'll be having another call, a private call after this, and to see how we can
Yes.
work on a project that relates more on XR for arts, culture, and also heritage digitization across the entire African continent.
Amazing. I look forward to it. And one thing you should be aware is that the baskets and the authentic weaving was on high display when you followed Brand Botswana. Check them out, and you will see the cultural aspects that they're showcasing at the Dubai Expo, and you understand what we have, and you'd be excited to definitely jump on. But thank you so much, Ibrahim,
Thank you, man.
for hosting and for having us. Thank you so
Thank you so much.
much. Nice meeting you, Daniel. It was great
Nice.
hearing what you're doing in Ethiopia, and hopefully one day you'll receive me there.
Yeah,
Definitely.
hospitality is our one of our symbols. So definitely.
Great, great.
Amazing, amazing.
Ben is saying, Ben Oria 4 is saying, Ben, I would love to be. Oh, he loves being here. Okay, sorry. So thank you so much, guys, for joining this session. I wish we had more time to showcase our more content, more experiences, but I believe we'll have another platform to do that very soon. So thank you so much for joining me on this, and see you all soon.
Thanks, Arun. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Cheers, Ibrahim.
Yeah, thank you. So thank you all for joining. It's been an amazing, amazing marathon of schedules and also sessions. And to round it up, we'll be having my amazing friend and brother, Matthew, who is an exceptional Unreal content developer, building amazing stuff for XR. Matthew will be sharing his thoughts on real-time interactive 3D and the African creative. We'll be starting in the next 3 minutes, so please hold on for us. Thank you so much.
What's the difference between augmented reality, virtual reality, and mixed reality? It is a range of experiences. On one hand, we have virtual reality, which is a total immersive experience where you put on a headset and you are disconnected from your environment. Everything you see and interact is a 3D generated object. And on the other hand, for augmented reality, you have a connection to your environment, like in HoloLens, and you have some extra information, maybe 3D or maybe audio information that's available to you, which is augmenting your reality. Also, we have mobile phone applications like Pokemon Go. You are looking through the glass of your phone and you're able to find 3D objects in the real world. And this whole range of experiences we call mixed reality. And short, it's called XR.
Hello. Right. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience, and also for joining us on this journey. Right. We'll be running up very soon, and I'm super glad to be hosting some of the best. They are the best to me, and I know they are the best to each and every one of you there out there in the world. They are my brothers and also my sisters doing great work and creating great experiences with XR on the African continent. And joining me will be Matthew. I've known Matthew for close to 2 years now, and I'm always super glad to have him on any session I'm hosting because he's an amazing guy doing great stuff with Unreal Engine. And so you all can meet Matthew. Yeah. Hi, Matthew. How are you?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. How are you, man?
All right, great. I mean, thanks for having me here. I really appreciate it.
It's fine. It's
It's
fine.
it's a privilege, yeah.
Great.
Yep.
So where are you calling in from? Where are you currently?
Nigeria. I mean, Yaba,
Nice,
Lagos,
nice.
Lagos, Nigeria.
Great.
Yeah.
So could you introduce yourself so our audience could know who they are listening to?
Okay, yeah. So my name is Matthew Isikweme from Nigeria, and I like to call myself a 3D generalist. So basically 3D modeling, 3D animation, VR development, and an XR educator. Yeah. So, yep.
So before you start your presentation, I would love to ask you, how did your journey begin? How did your journey begin with XR, and what have been your experiences so far with this tech?
Okay. So the thing is, my journey is a very exciting journey. It's a funny one. So it all started. Can I share my screen to explain my journey? Cause
Sure, you can, that's fine.
okay, let me share my screen.
So I'll allow you to take it from here. So if you
Okay.
tell us your journey, you can just begin your presentation.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
no
So
problem.
this is how my journey started. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
All right. So yeah. So basically, this was how my journey to VR started, and VR XR basically. So I was part of a team that developed sort of a VR car simulator, that allows you to. So I mean, what you're seeing here. So I think this is like 2018 or thereabouts. Yeah, 2018, and the whole idea was to create a VR car simulator that allows people to. So the main aim was, for people to have fun, but later on we took it to a level where we could teach people how to drive a car in VR, and it had the option of either the manual or automatic transmission. Yeah. So this was how my journey started into VR, and it was really exciting because immediately, I mean, once I experienced this for the first time, I told myself, yo, I definitely want to create content rather than consume. I want to create VR content. And yeah, so that's basically how my journey into VR started. So let me go ahead and share my slides. Okay, yep. So like I said, my name is Matthew. I'm a 3D content creator, a VR developer, and an XR educator. Currently, I'm the founder of Albastic. So Albastic is a startup that is focused on VR. Sorry, interactive media and interactive technology, of which virtual reality is part of the, you know, uh, the interactive ecosystem. Yeah. I'm also a co-founder at Redmore. So Redmore is basically focused on digital fashion, you know, digital fashion technology, and we are building something. Look out for what we are working on. It's going to be mind blowing, I can assure you. You know. So our topic today is basically real time interactive 3D and the African creative. You know, some people find it a bit daunting. You know, when you say, especially when you are new to the space, and they think, oh, where do I start from? It's very complex. How do I fit in and all of that? So I'll try my best possible to break down things in the simplest form possible. And majority of the speakers who have come before me, they've done justice to a lot of things. So I won't be talking so much. I'll share what I have to do and show more of videos and the kind of the work we have done and we are currently doing. Yeah. So so what is interactive 3D? So basically, like I said, I'm going to be as simple as possible. There's no need for complex terminologies and the likes. So interactive 3D is basically the ability to interact with the digital world just as we do with the physical world, you know. So the fact that I'm able to enter the digital space and interact, you know, being able to pick up stuff, change stuff, interact with stuff, you know. Sorry. And the creation process for interactive 3D involves, you know, bringing 3D assets into a real-time engine where various interactions and behaviors can be applied. So that basically means, oh, I can bring in stuff into a real-time engine, you know, or a real-time software, and I'm able to create interactive 3D experiences. I'm going to show that later on in the presentation. Um, so what is real time in 3D and how does it work? You know, because we had mentioned real time. So in a very simple form, to say something takes place in real time is same as saying it's happening live or on the fly. You know, so if in real life, if I pick up stuff, there's no lagging. So if I pick up something in real life, it's happening in real time per se. You know, so it's not like I pick up a phone and my brain 3 seconds later I see my hand moving, and in my head I've already like moved from one location to another, and it is then taking effect 3 seconds later. There will be glitch. If that would happen in real life, that would cause chaos. You know, so interactive 3D basically, or real time rather, basically means when you do stuff in a 3D space and it's happening in real time. So it takes away the part of rendering whereby you are creating stuff and then you have to wait hours before you see your results. You know, so basically interactive 3D eliminates that. So you are literally almost seeing your results on the fly or on the go, you know. And that's why interactivity and speed plays an important role in real-time rendering process. So now, what are real-time engines? So basically, real-time engines are software needed to develop and create immersive experiences. So, you can see on the slide. So, like I said, I'm going to show an example of what a real-time or what it means to have a real-time experience and also to use a real-time engine. But real-time engines basically allow you to develop and create immersive experiences such as games, AR experiences, VR experiences, 3D films, and the likes, and much more. You know, and the ability it gives you the ability to add lighting, materials, physics, AI, user interaction, audio, animation, VFX, and the likes, you know, into your interactive real-time engine. And examples of real-time engines, we have Unreal Engine, we have Unity, we have CryEngine, and the likes goes on. But the most popular ones to us are Unreal Engine and Unity. But I will be focusing on Unreal Engine today because that's the major real-time engine I use for my interactive 3D experiences. The future will be built on real-time 3D content. Now, so let me explain more or let me dive more on real-time 3D content. You know, it's not limited to creating games alone. Some people think, oh, when it comes to 3D, when it comes to real time, it's just games or films. Nowadays, it's a lot more than that, especially with the metaverse going mainstream. You know, real time content, real time engine, you know, has sort of gone to another level. For example, we have medical simulations, whereby doctors can carry out surgery in virtual environments without touching a patient, especially when you have student doctors, carrying out surgeries on avatars as their patients. And I mean, it's the same thing. What you get in a physical operation, that's what you. That's exactly the same thing, or to a large extent, what you can also achieve in a virtual surgery per se. So it eliminates a lot of things. I mean, it sort of makes the learning process easier, or it makes the learning process easier. It gives you the ability to create anything you can imagine. For example, or you have car simulations, car showcases. I mean, nowadays you don't have. I mean, you have automobile companies, creating or showcasing their brands or their futuristic projects in 3D, real-time 3D, and that eliminates the use of or the wastage of resources and materials. Trying to recreate stuff in real life or prototypes in real life, just for you to test. And at the end of the day, you end up having to, discard it just because things don't go out as planned. Well, you can have all of those tests with real time or interactive 3D, and I mean, you have nothing to lose. You're only working on pixels. So basically, you're just, spending instead of spending money and time and wasting energy and effort, you're basically working with pixels. So interactive 3D can actually play a role in, or can be used in the automotive space, in the architectural space, media and entertainment, training and simulation. I have already touched a bit on automotive. In architecture, we have interactive 3D being used for architectural visualizations. Imagine how when you can literally see the end from the beginning, if I will use that word. So you're able to visualize how a property would look like even before you start, creating the what's it called, foundation of the building, and creating blocks, and even before you start spending money on creating the actual structure, you can visualize all of that using interactive 3D. And media and entertainment, I mean, that's the most popular one. I mean, for games, 3D films, and the likes. Then you have training and simulations. I mean, you can have, say, for example, you have the oil and gas industry, and you have, so instead of taking or risking or putting at risk lives of, let's say, new intakes who are not used to working on onshore or offshore, you can literally simulate that experience and have them, navigate the scene, have them learn what it takes to be on an oil rig before they, get to experience that in real life. Um, so for careers in interactive 3D, so basically, um, there are quite a number of careers, in the interactive 3D space. If you are just starting out, it's not daunting. I mean, there are different ways you can be very useful in this space, especially like I said before, with the rise of the metaverse. I mean, the interactive 3D space, 3D basically can be used for product visualization. So if you have a passion in the advertising space, you can pick up interactive 3D skills and explore that space. If you are big on virtual reality or augmented reality, and something you should understand is in the metaverse, the major thing you would see are 3D content. From the avatars to the words, the experiences, it's going to be 3D. I mean, from especially from what the user perceives. In the back end, of course, you have codes running and all of that. But what the user perceives are is the 3D, interactive 3D, what you can interact with. So um, apart from getting a role as a 3D interactive 3D designer in the product space or advertising space, as a doctor, imagine you have the skill sets to create interactive 3D, and you apply that to your medical practice. I mean, that would go a long way. If you are an architect, especially, I mean, it's not new to architects because and we have a lot of them doing that already. So irrespective of what you're doing, especially now, the world is going digital. I think it's a skill set, that is very paramount, to have. And now, so here's sort of a market survey on the demand for interactive 3D skill sets. Right now we have a rise in the demand for skill set in interactive 3D. And there's been a 601% rise in the overall market, especially when it comes to the 3D space or the 3D world. For people who have skills in interactive 3D, and you can see the average salary in the board. In as much as I'm showing this, I mean, of course, the money shouldn't be the main reason why you should go into this. I You should go into this mostly because you want to make an impact in your space, and you want to create experiences that will cause a change or make impacts generally. So as Africans or as African creatives, why should we hop into this space? Is it too late? Is it too early? So first of all, it's not too late, it's never too late, and it's not too early either. Even though with the metaverse going mainstream, I mean, metaverse is not relatively new, but I mean, it's recently went mainstream. And so there's a huge demand for content in the metaverse. So if you have no reason why, or if you don't have any reason why you think you should get into the interactive 3D space, at least with the whole metaverse going mainstream, that's one reason why you should consider going into the interactive 3D space. And also for 3D artists, there used to be an issue of when you create stuff, people can easily steal them and own them, or that kind of thing. But with the rise of NFTs, non-fungible tokens, you can create your digital stuff as an artist and mint them and own them. So it's unique to you. So that's, I think, for me personally, I think one of the things that solves, in the NFT and the metaverse, especially the NFT, is the fact that as artists you can own your art without the fear of it being stolen. And so yeah, basically that's what I think. Why I think we should hop in, especially as African creatives, and because the last speakers, they made mention of something which was profound, and I think it's very important, because there is nobody who can tell our stories better than we can, as African creatives. Imagine you want to tell the story of the Edo Empire, of the Botswana society or South African society, and then you have the big companies creating content for us. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the big companies are out for dominance. They're not. They don't even care. They're out to dominate. Oh, we are doing this. We are this. We are the best in this. They're out for dominance. But as African creatives, who are out for to genuinely tell our story, to the world. I think it is now more than it is important now more than ever, to jump into the interactive 3D space. So yeah, I mean, if you have any questions, let me know. And like I said, I'm not going to speak too much. um i've said I've said some things. I'm going to show some videos of the things we are currently working on. So let me go ahead and do that. Let me stop sharing. I mean, if you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Great, great presentation, Matthew. So guys, if you have any questions for Matthew, please drop it in the comment section, and we'll attend to it immediately. So Matthew, I know you are passionate about what you do. You're passionate about XR,
Yeah,
and XR going mainstream with the metaverse. We are seeing a lot of people adopting roles that are quite voluminous, right? Like quite big, right?
yeah,
How can we encourage African creatives to focus, right, on their own stuff and not just try to adopt certain certain content or certain experiences that are not yet ready for the continent?
yeah. I think that is very important, because I mean, it's very easy to lose focus, and I mean, you see the stuff people are doing and you say, oh, I want to create this because this person is doing this, or somebody dropped something and it made a lot of money, and you decide to, I mean, so the thing is, you're going to wear yourself out, because it's not coming out. It's not coming from a place of passion, or from a place of calling, of a calling, or of impact. So I think as African creative, it is paramount that we focus on what matters to us most. And for me, I believe as Africans, our culture is very important. Our fashion is important. Our lifestyle is important. Our stories are very important. So if we can focus on that, and also use it as an opportunity or as a medium to sell the African culture to the Western world or to the foreigners. I mean, the same way we saw how the Asians were able to sell their cultures using film. So I think for us, the XR space, the metaverse, interactive 3D, is an opportunity to sell our culture and also debunk all sorts of notions going on about what Africa is and what Africa isn't. You know, um, yeah. So, I mean, I'm going
True.
to show some things. I'm going to show some things now. Let
Yeah,
me
you
share
can
my
share.
screen. All right.
So guys, if you have any questions, any thoughts, any feedback, please drop it in the comment section. We would really, really appreciate it.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. So this was sort of a a short cinematic I worked on using Unreal Engine, using the real time engine. So yeah, I was basically playing around.
So tell me about yourself, John.
Well, so I'm the basketball coach at Brookshire Christian. Hope anyway.
You don't sound too sure.
Well,
So yeah, I mean that's pretty short. So here, and also something I forgot to mention is I'm very big on facial and motion capture. Most of the animations I do are centered around motion capture technology and facial capture. I mean, like in this video, you can see. So basically, this was us testing a product from Move.ai, whereby they are basically pushing the need for suitless motion capture animations, whereby you can basically create motion capture without the need of a suit. So that's one project we worked on, and so here's another one where we're trying to showcase the use for virtual reality for architectural visualizations. I mean, this was a very interesting project for us because it was actually for I mean, this was actually for a client who was trying to visualize how his property would look like. And funny enough, this was done like in 2017, 2018. So it's like, it's quite old. Even before the metaverse going mainstream, we had already started doing stuff around the VR space. And like I said, everything we basically do revolves around Unreal Engine, you know. So here, I mean, you're able to interact um, with the 3D space. You can change colors. So the whole idea is for you to see exactly how the property would look like, if even before you comment any form of construction. And here's a project we are currently working on in Redmore, Albasic and Redmore. So basically, we are working on creating African attires, African garments. So we are starting off with this Nigerian senator wear. So the whole idea is to have it as wearables in games, or in the metaverse. So imagine you are in the metaverse or in digital space, and you're able to wear this. So it's a way to show the African culture, to push the African culture, and say, oh, we have this kind of clothing in the African space, in the Nigerian setting. And it's especially like I said before, the metaverse is an opportunity to showcase our culture, to showcase our wares, and to a larger audience, especially because you'd have people from all over the globe on the metaverse. So instead of just going around, having fun, it is a very good opportunity to showcase whatever it is you can create. I mean, this is be very important for fashion designers, tailors, to showcase whatever it is you're working on in the metaverse. And so I think that will go a long way as well. Then finally, I'll just show this. So all right, then so this was what we created using the MetaHuman. Um, So this is so for people who are looking for a career in the as character creators, I think for me the character creation or 3D is living the uncanny valley. And what I mean by that is things are getting very, very realistic that you can barely tell what a 3D is from what a real life is. So things are leaving the uncanny valley real fast, especially with the available technology. And you can begin to showcase your skills, build avatars for the metaverse, and as with 3D interactive tools, create characters, especially African characters, because amazingly when we try to like work on projects and go online to look for characters, it's hard to find African black characters. You get to see more of white characters. I mean, if you are in the architectural space or if you're a 3D filmmaker trying to look for, it's quite hard to find black characters, high quality black characters. It's not impossible, but they're not as much compared to foreign characters. So I think this is also something we can work on, having to create black characters for I mean, you can either sell them or have them in games, have them in the metaverse, have them in digital spaces, you know. And finally, like I said, I was going to show something relating to what it looks like to have stuff in real time. So this is the project we are currently working on. So this is Unreal Engine, and this is what you can see how you can see how realistic and how good the quality is, when you work with in real time. And the good thing is I don't have to render anything. I mean, this is from my viewport. I'm not rendering anything. This is real time. I can already see how the thing would look like, even without rendering anything. So if I need to make any change, it is very easy for me to make changes in the real time. I mean, in the project, in the interactive 3D space. So this is an example of what we say when something is a real time technology or real time engine. So, like I said, this is Unreal Engine, and Unreal Engine is one of the examples of real time engines. So, yep.
I'm
Thank
clapping.
you.
I'm clapping. Man, those experiences
Yeah.
were fire, man. They were amazing. Like, my own personal question is, how do I learn how to basically be like Matthew? Right? How can I start small? Where do I begin? How can I be like Matthew and create amazing content like this?
Okay, so the first things first is um to be able to get into the 3D space. Thankfully, things are getting way easier now. I mean, we have resources online, and we have free softwares. I mean, you have likes of Blender. So Blender is a 3D software, a 3D tool that you can use in creating 3D content. So we have the likes of Blender for creating 3D, 3D content. Because before you even get stuff into a real-time engine, it has to be created in a 3D software. So Blender is one. I mean, there are lots of tools, there are materials. You can buy stuff, tutorials. Udemy is a good platform. YouTube is also very good, but because in the past, people used to say, oh, the software are expensive, the software is there. But I mean, now things are getting cheaper, things are getting even free. And as a creator, you don't even need to pay anything nowadays. I mean, with Blender, you can begin to create 3D content. Then, if you want to create stuff using real-time engine, Unreal Engine is a free tool as well. Unity is there; they're free tools. So, and you have lots of materials online. So, stop procrastinating, stop giving excuses. Now is the time. Just jump in. And also, very importantly, don't try to overwhelm yourself. Or, don't look at. I mean, it's very good to look at what people are doing and get inspired, but don't try to compare yourself. I mean, trust me, you get frustrated. So just take it one step at a time, and yeah.
I love the last part, right? Not comparing yourself to people the wrong way. You can compare in terms of they inspire you, they motivate you, but
Yeah, sure.
try and carve your own niche, try and carve your own space, and
Mhm.
if possible, change the world, right? Everybody can do that. I am doing that
Yeah,
currently. Right? I'm hosting everybody,
definitely,
right? So
definitely.
everybody can change their own world in their own space. So we have
Yeah.
a question from Chimidi Lawal. Sorry. So he said, oh, so can you hear me?
Yeah, sure.
So he said, as a creator, what opportunities are there to not only explore your passion as a creator in the XR space, but to monetize your current skills?
Okay, amazing. I mean, I think that's a very important question. So one of the major opportunities now as XR as a creator basically in the XR space is NFTs. I mean, NFTs has blown up the opportunity, has opened up a wide array of opportunities. As creators, so I'm going to mention a few, but I'll start off with NFTs. So I mean, you can create your digital assets. Mint them, get them on as NFTs, and you can begin to sell them on various platforms. That's one. Then secondly, with the rise of the metaverse, like we have um, Decentraland, we have Sandbox. I recently started exploring Sandbox, and I've been seeing a lot of opportunities as creators. For example, you have play and earn. You have the play and earn feature on Sandbox. You have the I think it's the creator mode on Sandbox, whereby you tend to create games. You create words and you sell them. Then also you have the I think it's the voxel art opportunity, whereby you create 3D characters. You create apart from 3D characters, you create 3D assets. Yeah, 3D assets that can be used in the metaverse, and you can put them up for sale. On different platforms, and you can sell your art stuff. You can sell. You can even get. I mean, you can for those who are into like paintings. Traditional painting. I think one way you can get your stuff sold in the metaverse is find a way to convert your physical painting onto digital paintings, onto digital arts. Upload them onto different platforms and sell them off as NFTs. Like I said, NFTs have come, to safeguard creators in the sense that you won't be scared of anybody stealing your work anymore, because once you mint them, they become unique to you. Yeah, so
Great. Nice feedback. I can see you have some amazing fans over here. So Ajayi Naomi is saying she loves the fact that you are also showcasing how we can use XR for our culture and also our heritage, and maybe have more African-based 3D content on some
yeah,
of the
yeah.
popular 3D stores, so people can also use them as
Mhm.
much as they can. Yeah. So Ahmed, who just presented his own products, is saying awesome presentation, Matthew, and
Thank you, Ahmed. Thank you
yeah,
so much. I mean, you were awesome as well.
yeah. Lawal is also saying thank you so much.
Thank you, Lawal. I appreciate it.
Yeah, your session was great actually. So before we wrap up, I want to have your thoughts, more like a prediction of what you feel the metaverse would be in Africa, or the metaverse would help to improve or uplift certain opportunities and should I say circumstances on the continent, right? And how African creatives can jump into this space as soon as possible.
So I think one of the major and most amazing opportunities for African creators is the fact that because the metaverse is a global space, so it gives you the opportunity to showcase your stuff to an even more global audience. Without the, I mean, we know how it can be a thing for the government to unfortunately frustrate African creatives. Especially even here in Nigeria. So before as far as you can, be in your studio or your workspace, and you're able to create stuff. So the metaverse opens opportunities whereby you can showcase your stuff. And also, one thing to note as African creatives is the kind of stuff we do. They are extremely unique. I mean, you can't go online and easily find African stuff. And there are lots. I mean, I'm from Edo State, and growing up, we used to have. So growing up, I used to see a lot of people doing bronze casting. Unfortunately, the popular Queen Idia's head was stolen from Africa and is currently somewhere in the British Museum chilling. You know, so growing up, I used to see a lot of a lot of people doing stuff with when it comes to bronze casting, and I'm sure it is for other ethnic groups in Nigeria. I mean, I'm talking about Nigeria now. Also for other places in Africa. I One thing I know for sure is that the stuff we have is very unique. You know, the same way the Asians were able to sell their culture using film. I think we can showcase our arts, our culture using XR, using the metaverse. Currently the African music is doing well globally, and Nigerian music is doing well. So I think it's time for our arts, our culture, and and basically our fashion to begin to even conquer. So I think that's one way, to get the African creatives to to utilize the metaverse. Yeah.
Very true, very true. We have to do it ourselves. No one is going to do that for us. And
Yeah,
just like
definitely.
you said, we are basically the only people that can tell our stories, right? The
Yep.
original story, and
Hmm.
tell the world and change the perspective that people have about the African continent.
Yeah.
So to add to that, Africa is beautiful. Africa is amazing,
Yep.
right? Forget about the narratives you see online, right? There are some good stuff about the continent that are yet to be explored. And we, the
Yeah.
African creators, we believe with XR we will be able to showcase to the entire world what Africa is and its prospects for the future.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
yeah, so Matthew, I know a lot of people would love to connect with you. What platform would be suitable for people to reach out to you?
I mean, the best platform is LinkedIn. I mean, LinkedIn is like my best social media platform.
Great.
So, my name Matthew Isikrome on LinkedIn. Yeah.
Okay, amazing. So you can search for Matthew on LinkedIn, and he'll be willing and also um, able to answer any questions you might have about Unreal Engine, 3D,
Yeah,
and interactive content creation. Thank you so
definitely.
much, Matthew, for your time. Thank you for
Thank you
closing
for having
this amazing African community session. It's been super
me.
amazing, right? Sharing and showcasing to the rest of the world what we are doing with Excel on the continent. I wish we had more time, but
Yep.
I know next time we'll be able to show more content, more experiences,
Sure.
and
Sure.
tell
Definitely.
our stories.
Definitely.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that.
All
Thank you
right.
so much for coming. Okay.
Yeah. Bye.
Great. Thank you all for joining us. Super amazing. I'm super proud. Like I'm proud of each and everyone I had on this session, and I know in the coming years the XR space in Africa is going to be super big, and I'm super glad to be supporting each and everyone who will be willing to learn about XR and connect them with the amazing speakers we had on display for the community session. So thank you so much. Thank you to the Global XR conference team for this opportunity, and I can't wait to see each and every one of you next year for the 2022 edition. So bye bye everyone, and see you.